The longest race of the season. Tonight, we head to Concord, North Carolina to test man and machine with 200 laps at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Eliza Bethel alongside Pete Ruzick, and we're in for a fun, long night. How you doing tonight, Pete?
Eliza, I am full of so much energy this evening. I have been going all day long getting ready for this race. I'm up, I'm running, everything looks great. We've got a stacked roster for tonight's, this race is so long. 200 laps here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Queen City, the Beast of the Southeast, whatever you want to call it. These guys have been out here practicing. Even Jacob Palmer threw up a practice earlier today to help some guys get ready for what the track conditions were going to be like. I'm ready. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. And you know, Charlotte is my favorite track out here, so
Yes,
I
it
love
is.
it. Now, iRacing threw a little curveball and made changes to all the setup. So last night, we have a whole different setup than what these drivers had the last 2 weeks to practice on. So it's a whole different feeling, a whole different way of driving. I can assure you that the first at least several laps are hazardly loose. It's still going to be loose throughout the run, but it should tighten up, especially since we're going to go into the sunset and into the night. So I think things will tighten up for him, but it's going to be a very, very interesting ride until then.
Yeah, you're not kidding. You know, getting into 1 and 2, usually in 1 and 2, they can get back on the throttle somewhat early. They're going to have to wait for the temps to come up in these tires and then get a little bit maybe more aggressive with the throttle. 3 and 4 is usually pretty tight, so they're going to have to feel that out, see how it goes along. But patience is the name of the game, not to wear out your tires at first or even in that long run. I'm ready to go. I think these guys are too.
Absolutely. We do have a couple of new drivers out here tonight. Micah Walls is one of them, Jacob Cannon another, so we'll have to keep our eye on them. And I do believe Andrew Chapman, this will be his first time joining us, so that's 3 new drivers that I see on the roster for tonight. So very interesting. We'll see how they do here at Charlotte, but you can see some of these drivers are having a little bit of an issue. So it makes me a little nervous, Pete, but I think, like I said, once the night gets going, we're going to have a smoother ride and conditions will tighten up.
Yeah, we're starting right now. The track temp right around 107 with 86-degree air. As the sun starts to fade away behind the grandstands, everything's going to come down, and that's really when we might see that one hot night all over again.
You can see Francis Hamilton getting into the wall, Tom Flitcroft going, but practice is getting ready to come to an end, and we will head to qualifying. But while we're waiting, let's go ahead and take a look at the track analysis for what we can expect tonight at Charlotte. Race length, we said it already, 200 laps. It is a long, long night, and man, I think we're going to see some patience going away quickly in that final stage. But fast repairs, that has not changed. 0 fast repairs. Now the stages, take a look at these numbers. We have 45 laps for the first and second stage. The third stage will be 110. Pete, they only have 4 sets of tires in the race. 5 if you count what they have in qualifying.
I was really thinking that tonight. I even mentioned it last night in my broadcast with Turn Down for What, that if they had actually stuck with tradition, there would have been a whole lot of stage points to give away, like 50, 50, 50, and then the final 50 laps to go. But hey, 45, 45, and 110 really makes it interesting as we get into qualifying.
Absolutely. And, you know, once we get these guys in the qualifying and go to warm up, I'll go over points because I'll tell you what, things got really shaken up from the last couple of races. Really fun to see what's going on there. But man, Andrew Wisdom, he's got quite the lead. But I'm kind of curious to see, how will these drivers run? What line will they run heading into qualifying? I was talking to a couple of drivers. Some say up high because it's so loose down low. Others are saying I am being by the apron.
Yeah, you're gonna want to be by the apron in 1 and 2 for sure. Later on in the race, probably up high, like you were just saying, because you got a little bit more banking there, and it's a little bit more forgiving. And then maybe on that third lap, you can try to test it out if you want, but I wouldn't be too willing to get to that bottom too fast. As you see the 11 there, he's high, wide, and handsome already.
Absolutely. These guys are already on the run. And, I wouldn't qualifying. I think some of them will stay up high, but racing wise, once we get into the race, I don't see these guys staying up there. I agree with you, Pete. It's not a place where you want to run a lot. It's going to wear those tires down, heat them up a little too much. So I think we're going to see a lot of these guys riding in the midline or to the low side for the majority of that race.
Yeah, it really is. And they say if you get down on the bottom and you hug that white line, it also chews up your tires a little bit more because you're having to put a little bit more wheel into it, a little bit more left. Where if you're up high, you're burning a little bit more gas because you're riding the higher side, the way that's longer around the track. They used to say a while back there is a definite difference, and sometimes it could be pretty substantial, from running the high side versus the low, taking the long way around the track versus the shorter way. So I have to see how they all do. Might come into play later on.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. But so far, Jordan McGraw, number 1 on the board, and he quickly gets taken down by Jimmy Cocker and Andrew Wisdom, who gets out there in second. And then Andrew Chapman. These guys are just playing leapfrog. Lots and lots of drivers so incredibly close in time. You can see Wisdom and McGraw 30.54, dead tied. So very, very close times. No surprise here, but Charlotte is going to be a wild, wild race. I was told to look out for Josh Taylor. And so far, yeah, he's the one that is taking over the lead in qualifying.
Yeah, Josh Taylor, another one that joined from console going way back in the day, joined iRacing for a little while. I had to give it up because something happened with his PC, and he's back. And since he's been back, he's been running all kinds of different tracks, different cars, and he is coming. He's been coming for the lead more and more often, getting better and better in those points too.
Absolutely. So our top 10 is going to be Josh Taylor. He's so far going to be on that pole position. Jimmy Cocker in second. Micah Allard in third. Andrew Chapman fourth. Andrew Wisdom in fifth. Jordan McGraw in sixth, which he just gets moved down to eighth. And Justin Enesogak gets moved up to pole. So these guys are still not done, Pete.
Yeah, I tell you that the team that hangs out mostly in Discord together, Forrest Smith, new here to the Shake and Bake iRacing community, but Josh Taylor, Justin Aniscock, and Mike Papa Campbell all kind of hanging out together. Those guys, they do a lot of talking and sharing of ideas pretty often. So it's not surprising to see Justin and Josh right now 1-2, but we'll have to see how long that lasts.
Yeah, we're coming off of a road course from 2 weeks ago. We were at Road America, and it was Andrew Wisdom that took that win. And I'll tell you what, that put him in a huge lead over second place. So the reason why I bring that up, Pete, is last season, I know we were in the Cup Series, but he won here at Charlotte. So if he wins tonight and takes home more stage points, that is just going to put him way out ahead of everyone else. So these other drivers really have to concentrate on getting those stage points and getting that win.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the first season, Andrew Wisdom was all about the road courses. He'd struggle a little bit in the ovals, and then about midway through season 2, something in the way that he drives or in his settings or whatever flipped. And since then, he has been all about any kind of race on any given week, been able to really excel. And That's why last season he just walked away with, well, I don't want to say walked away with the championship because it was pretty close between him and the 68, but he's gotten a whole lot stronger in the last couple of seasons. I don't doubt he'll be a force to be reckoned with tonight also.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and bring up those point standings. You guys can take a look as they are in the warm up. Andrew Wisdom, we talked about him, and here is how it looks. He's got 204 points. Meanwhile, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, 166. Andrew increased his lead from 4 points to 38. Another huge movers is going to be Jimmy Cocker, Brody Fallaker, Josh Taylor, Chuck Cody. They all make huge gains in the point standings. And you see Jimmy Cocker, he's up in 4th, and Brody Fallaker in 7th, Josh Taylor in 8th. So these guys looking really, really solid. And Matthew Gale, he's sitting 11th in point standings. So doing an amazing job. I just can't wait to see the more improvements that he brings. It's going to be fun to watch these guys shoot up through the standings.
You know, talking about Andrew Wisdom and that massive lead, I mean, he gained a ton last week. That goes to show just how important stage wins and then being able to put a whole race together, that goes to show why it all matters. I mean, like you said, from just a 4-point lead to over 30, that is huge to try to catch up to. But Eliza, later on in the season, this is all going to break down, and everybody's going to be all racked and stacked back up as far as points go. I believe that they'll carry some over, but it'll be a new race every 3 or 4 races after that.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see next week we are headed to Bristol for 225 laps. Once Darlington hits in October 28th, the race after is going to begin the playoffs, the round of 12. So these drivers still have several races to go, but man, oh man, every race matters, every stage matters, every position matters. And that's what these guys are concentrating on now. That's why you see so much aggressiveness pick up once we head to the ends of stage. These guys, they need all those points that they can get, and they're going to do what it takes to get them.
Absolutely, and that's why you talk to a lot of these drivers in pre-race, and they're saying, "Oh, that this is going to be horrible. The cars are really, really loose. We're struggling. Not quite sure what we're going to be able to do." But Eliza, when we get to race time, we've come across or come back with maybe 1 or 2 cautions after watching everybody spin out in practice. But yet, when it comes race time, they're good. They're steady. They're really focusing on what they've got to do, and it ends up being a great race. I wouldn't expect anything less than that tonight.
Absolutely. Chloe, I see you out there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, supporting the drivers, supporting us. We so much appreciate it. Chloe says, good luck tonight, Jacob Cannon official. He is out there currently sitting P3 in the speed charts and warm up. So he's looking really, really solid. It's always fun to see new drivers out here. And tonight, he makes his debut.
How about Francis Hamilton right now, fastest on the speed charts with a 30.36. I mean, Brody Fallaker, the guy that we say can get it done every single week and does have a win this season, and does have a win last season or the season before that as well. Actually, the closest win in Shake and Bake history. Like you said, Jacob Cannon right now sitting P3, Brendan Book 4th, and J-Mac, Jordan McGraw in that number 34. Sitting P5 with little over a minute to go. Everybody's getting wrapped up, figuring out what they got to do with their brake buys, maybe get something last second change on their wheel, maybe for the long run versus short run. Oh boy, we got a lot to go.
We do have a lot to go, and Joe Berg takes over that lead in warm-up. Fastest lap, 30.34. See if we can continue it on into the race, but I think it's going to be a little sketchy starting off. I mean, turn 4 coming off the exit, that is always sketchy when you're trying to come out into the tri-oval. That can be pretty sketchy. I know coming off of turn 2, I don't know. Conditions seem to change quite a bit, especially since we have those setup changes from iRacing. I mean, you get used to one thing, and they're going to change it and bring out another.
Oh yeah, it changes week after week, and I think that might have been why Jacob Palmer, like I mentioned earlier, he went ahead and put that practice session up for everybody to get reacclimated with what the cars were like. These Xfinity cars, they are looser than the trucks and the Cup cars put together. So you really got to wheel these things around, and for 200 laps, it will absolutely be a test of man, and as you put it earlier, Eliza, and machine.
Absolutely. Warm up is coming to a close, and the race that's going to start 200 laps is getting ready to begin. You know what that means. We're going to bring out that grid shortly and show off these drivers, pole, you name it. So we'll get these drivers lined up and ready to race. Let me know in comments, who do you think is going to win tonight? Andrew Wisdom has 2 wins so far this season out of 4 races. We also have 3 different winners.
3 winners, 32 drivers out there in this field tonight that truly believe they've got a shot at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Here's the grid.
The grid, we're going to start on pole with Justin Anasogak sitting in that 4 machine on pole. In P2, we have Josh Taylor in the 2 machine. Row 2, we have Joe Berg in that 93 car with Brody Falliker to his outside in that 42 machine. Row 3 is going to be Jimmy Cocker beside Steven Maggio. Row 4 is going to be Micah in that 61 machine with Andrew Chapman in that 18. And in row 5, we're going to have Brendan Book in that 5 car along with Andrew Wisdom to his outside.
P11 looks like Jordan McGraw in that number 34 with Tom Flitcroft. Tom Flitty in the 8 to round out the top 12. P13 is going to look like Jacob Cannon. His first night's going to start him 13th in that number 19. Forrest Smith in the 81, 14th. Row 8 looks like Chris Karch in the 40 with John Honeycutt in the 50 to his outside. 17th is going to be Philip Bridgman in the 9 with Francis Hamilton in the 48 sitting 18th. 19th looks like Jonathan Jurgensmeyer with Jarrett Cardwell in the 12 starting 20th.
21st is going to be Joseph Turley in that 97 with Dylan C. Robb to his outside. Matthew Gale starting P23 with Luke Allen in 24th. And in 25th, we have Jose Ruiz in that 23 machine with Micah Walls in 26. 27th, we have Connor Cunningham in that 3 car with Jeff No to his outside. P29 is going to be Jacob Palmer with Mike Campbell to his outside. And last but not least, we have Chuck Cody in 31st with Oscar Henson in 32nd.
So we got teammates on the front row. The lights atop the pace car are out, Eliza. We are getting ready to roll. We got a whole lot of star-spangled goodness out there on track for 200 laps from Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm fired up. These guys are fired up. Will it last for 200 laps? Will they last for 200 laps? We're about to find out. Pace car's pulling off.
Here he goes. These guys are lined up, ready to roll for 200 laps. Let's see how it goes. We are going green, and we got Barney the Flag Man waving that thing. Here we go. Look at these guys. Already looks like some trouble. I'm not sure what happened, but yeah.
Not quite sure. It looks like something possibly with Jose Ruiz, Connor Cunningham, Joe Turley, and maybe Michael Walls. But yeah, first yellow is out before they get to turn 1.
Looks like, man, somebody just lost it, got into the high side. Jose missed it completely, but yeah, we do have one driver. It looks like Joseph Turley, perhaps. Let's take a look. Not sure. Some of these guys, these were 3 wide. Definitely cannot do that. So that's going to bring that out for sure.
Yeah, good job by Jose Ruiz. Way to be with the heads up driving. And looks like 28 came down to 3. He went through the grass as well. So that's why it showed that they had something to do with it, because they went off track to avoid it all. But yeah, I'm not quite sure if that was a first gear start and the wheels just slipped up on them and up into the outside wall they went.
Michael Walls, his debut race, and he's already in pit lane. So not a good start. Didn't even get to turn 1. Very, very interesting. Couple of new drivers out here, but we'll see how it goes the second time around. But man, already a caution, says Evan. And yeah, he is so right. Maddie says it's going to be a long night if we keep this up. You know, Maddie, we've had such clean racing. I'm not worried just yet. Knock on wood, guys.
Yeah, she put the emphasis on long there, Eliza, and she's right. But I have a feeling, these guys that learn from their mistakes pretty quick, realize that they can't do just that. Might be a second gear restart. Maybe don't try the first. And again, I'm just speculating. I don't know for sure. But all I know is that caution number 1 came out too early. I'm ready to see some real racing, see exactly what these drivers do to deal with the loose condition that these cars have and move on.
And we're not dealing with really short stage 1 and 2. I mean, these are 45 laps.
Yeah.
So these guys, they can't afford to make mistakes. They only have 4 sets to go on. I mean, it gives them a little bit of play, but you can't be really aggressive starting off. And I think that start was just simply somehow they already went 3 wide. Somebody did not know they did, got into each other.
Yeah, it could be, like you mentioned, it's Michael Walls. It's his first race here. It's a pretty large field. I think I mentioned earlier, 32 cars in the field tonight. So maybe a little first race jitters and got a little overzealous. Again, I can't say for sure, but it's it's something that he'll be able to come back from. It's still very, very early. Even if he's on pit road for a while repairing the car, he'll be able to come on back out, get some laps under his belt, and let the nerves settle a little bit, and then get back to the race.
Absolutely. These guys are getting ready to go once again. We'll see what happens here. They're going around, so hopefully this time around, man, you guys, you think I jinxed it? No, I say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. We already have our first caution, lap 4. We're not yet back to green, but yeah, longest race of the night. It could be a little bit of jitter. Who knows? We'll see what happens, though.
It could absolutely be a little bit of jitter. And as I look at the 4 car of Justin Anasagog, and he's running a Taylor Swift scheme, it's odd. The lyrics that came to my head is he's gonna run away, way. But I am all over it tonight.
I talked to him and he told me, he warned me about his paint scheme and said that you would be laughing the entire time that you saw it. And there it is, Taylor Swift. Man, oh man. Looking good. We have a lot of patriotic cars too. You can look through the field, see that red, white, and blue, and a couple of drivers driving those schemes in remembrance of 9/11, which is coming up in a couple of days here.
Yeah.
But yeah, great job to these drivers putting on those paint schemes. Always come with some great schemes out here.
Yeah, Mike Papa Bear Campbell's got a phenomenal scheme a little bit further in the back. All right, Eliza, here we go again. Pace car's going to make that hard left. Barney's got the green flag in hand. Let's get ready to roll. This time, all green for the next
green flag,
40-something laps until we get to the stage. 41 laps. Let's go.
I agree with you. Let's get this moving. All right, let's take a look. We got Justin Anasagak out to a great lead so far. That 2 machine of Josh Taylor right behind him. So off we go, these guys. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it looks like as they go into turns 1 and 2 double wide, they kind of single file out all the way back to about P8, P9, back with Andrew Wisdom, Andrew Chapman, and the likes. They're not double wide for another car length or 2, as it looks like Joe Berg going to try to challenge the deuce on the inside going into 1.
Joe Berg, here we go, P3, and these guys 2 wide. It looks like Josh Taylor is going to have a little bit of momentum on that high side, and he's going to challenge Justin Anasagak for that lead, and he takes over that lead. Let's see if he can keep it, though. That high side, it is so tempting because you can get such a great momentum, but it will chew up those tires if you do it too long.
Yeah, I wonder if Justin Anscock, as he got down into the bottom of the track, that bottom line, realized that it was a little too loose and had to back out of it. Meanwhile, Josh Taylor was up high, able to get back in the throttle just a little bit more. And you saw Joe Berg in that Star Spangled DuPont machine do the same exact thing. And now here comes Brody Falker, and it looks like it's going to relegate the 4 back to P4.
Take a look at these guys. We have Jimmy Cocker in 6th, Steven Maggio out there in 5th, Andrew Wisdom in 7th. He is up 3 spots from where he started. Brennan Book 8th, Micah in 9th, and Tom Flitcroft, he's going to round out the top 10.
Yeah, Brandon Book just posted the fastest lap. I know it's about what 3 or 4 laps since we went back green, but putting up a 30.64, almost a good half a tenth faster than everybody else. So that Sugar Big Purple already up and flying.
Yeah, and it looks like Jonathan just beat that on my screen. He's got a 30.51 for Jurgensmeyer, so great job for him. He's sitting P14 at the moment, and take a look at this racing. These guys are just so incredibly close. Let's take a look on board with Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. You can see, hear those tires squealing. These guys are going to use up every piece of their tires and machine before the night is over. And we're going to have some beautiful scenery as the sun sets.
Oh yeah, this track and this area is absolutely beautiful as it transitions from day into night. The 00 realized that the high side is not going to work. He had Forrest Smith right in front of him. Now he's got Jacob Cannon, new to the Sugar Big iRacing community, as well as Andrew Chapman and one and only Tom Flitcroft in that Elvis-themed number 8.
Yeah, these guys starting to go single file line. But man, oh man, just incredibly close. We're on board with Jacob Cannon currently, and he's sitting P11. He's got Andrew Chapman ahead of him. Looks like he's going to take a peek to the outside, going to think otherwise, just maybe getting a different line, staying in that clean air. These guys going to tuck down. That 18 gets off that line a little bit, but single file, that is a long train, Pete.
Yeah, long train to come in, absolutely. But Eliza, something I noticed right there, more and more cars are now down on that bottom line. So they've got a little bit more comfort, maybe a little bit more stability in the heat and the grip of the tires. And they are just chugging right along.
Yeah, let's see if we can take a look at the weather currently. 84 degrees, 24% humidity. It is clear out there, so yeah, I think it's only going to cool off as that sun does set. So this should become a little less loose and a little more grippy for these guys.
Yeah, sim time right now, just about 7:41. So you see the sun starting to set. You definitely see more shadow on the track. Soon enough, the lights are going to come on. These guys are going to be under total darkness, except for the stadium style lights that are around this place. And man, the racing is so real with every single one of these drivers, no matter if you're first or all the way back in 30th.
How about Joe Berg in second, just doing a phenomenal job out there. We'll see if he can catch Josh Taylor. I mean, I was warned about Josh Taylor that he was very, very quick out there, someone to keep an eye out for. And that is definitely the case tonight. But Joe Berg, I got to give him a shout out, doing phenomenal. I wish him a lot of luck going into the remainder of this race. But man, oh man, doing a great job. Bertie Falliker in third, Justin Anasagak in fourth, Stephen Maggio in fifth, Brendan Book moves up to sixth, Micah Allard in seventh, Andrew Wisdom in eighth, Jacob Canna moves up to ninth, Jimmy Cocker, he's going to round out the top 10.
Yeah, Tom Flitcroft's going to be behind him after starting 12th. So right now, sitting in 11th. In 12th is going to be Andrew Chapman in that number 18 Chevrolet. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer up there in points right now, though sitting P13, up 6 spots so far. Francis Hamilton up 4, sitting P14 in that 48, but look forward to him moving throughout the field as the night goes on. Always great for that long run. John Honeycutt right now in that Team FTR number 50, sitting 15th with Forrest Smith in 16th in that 81. Philip Bridgman, he started 17th. That's currently right where he runs. Jordan McGraw is down 7 spots in 18th. Dylan Robb up 3 in 19th in his number 16 Chevrolet. And P20, Jarrett Cardwell started 20th, and he still runs right there.
21st is going to be Jose Ruiz. 22nd, Connor Cunningham. Chris Karch is going to sit 23rd. Luke Allen, who was involved in that earlier incident, I do believe, is out in 24th, actually from where he started, so he hasn't gained or lost anything. Joseph Turley, he's going to be in 25th. Matthew Gale, 26th. Chuck Cody, 27th. Oscar Henson in 28th. Mike Papa Bear Campbell, 29th. And Jacob Palmer is going to round out the top 30.
Yeah, last but not least, back there in that number 14, it's going to be Jeff Noe and at TJ's team Ford Dark Knight Mustang. Michael Walls down still. I don't think he actually made the start, or something happened with him during that initial restart, but he is out of the race.
So unfortunate to see, but I think a lot of these drivers, from what I was understanding, they're not going to be as aggressive at the start. I mean, this is such a long race. You can't afford to lose your machine so early on. So we'll see how they play out. But I think once we hit into that around 40 lap, I think we're going to see these guys elbows out and a little more aggressiveness. So we'll see what happens.
Well, as we're getting into that part of the run now, we're just about 15 laps in after that first caution. After going back green, Josh Taylor's pretty much led the way. Him in the 93 able to get around the 4 by utilizing the high side, and they haven't looked back. And if you go through the field or look back, you absolutely see a long train of cars, kind of like what you said earlier. So at this point, everybody is absolutely racing the track, conserving what they got as far as that right front, saving the right rear, maybe using it a little bit to come off the corner, and only putting as much wheel into it as they need to get through and around this place lap after lap. So far, looking pretty good for the Deuce.
Absolutely. And a very interesting note. I mean, we're on lap 20, but the fall off happens relatively quickly. These guys have already lost about a second in their lap time. So very interesting to see how much the time falls off in this race. But Charlotte, it is always such a fun race. You really have to be careful how much you drive through the corners. I was hearing some drivers say, my tires were falling off so early. I tell the same thing every time. Back up your entry. You cannot be on that throttle for too long around those corners. You will destroy your tires. And Kerblam, thank you so much for the subs. 11 months, almost a year. That is crazy. Time flies. It blows me away every time. But thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you're doing well.
That is absolutely awesome. I'm watching the 2, the 4, the 42 of Brody Falker, as well as a few others. I'm starting to watch them get that little bit of a wiggle on corner exit, but nobody, it seems like from about 5th, then there's a little bit of a gap back to 6th, which is Brendan Book. Micah Allard started 7th, still right there. So we got a couple of distinct packs. You got a pack of 5, pack of 3, and then a larger group right behind them. The 2 coming across as we get to lap 23 now. And to your point, Eliza, Josh Taylor's fastest lap, his best lap, which would have been very, very early, was the 30.6. His last lap, a 31.9. So almost 2 seconds off.
Yeah, I mean, it's quickly declining, which is very, very interesting to see how much so, especially with these conditions going into sunset and into night. So very interesting, but man, oh man. You gotta love Charlotte. I love the paint schemes. I love the track. It's just so much fun to race here. And if you know how the car handles and the best line to run here, it is just so satisfying to run around this track and see how well you can do.
Oh, yeah, it absolutely is. And everybody's got to be in it for the long haul. Again, 200 laps here, broken up by a couple of stages. You really have to be set up for the long run. If you get out there in the lead, or if you get a little bit of a gap between yourself and the next car back, you get into a little bit of a conservation mode. I said it before, you don't have to be second upon second upon second ahead. All you need to do is hold your position, back up to the car behind them, and just maintain pace. You don't need to run away, especially on a long race like this.
Joe Berg really holding on to Josh Taylor. It looks like he's caught him quite a bit, so he's doing a great job at keeping him in his sights. But you can see this field is starting to really spread out, and it's just going to show how well these drivers took care of their car and made sure that they had tires left in stage 1. We're on 26 of 200. Now our first stage will end on 45. You cannot pit with 2 to go to stage N. So if they're gonna take those tires, which I don't see happening for anyone, Pete, especially with having only 4, you're gonna have to do it before 2 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're somewhere in the back, I'd say maybe second half of the field and further back, you may want to think about something like that. Gain a little bit of track position on those brand new Eagle Feel Goods. But other than that, come on down, grab 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods when the stage break comes along, and then you save that other set, that 4th set, for right there somewhere in the middle of that final longest stage of the evening.
Taking a look, we have looks like Micah out there. That's going to be Forrest Smith in the 81. He's got Francis Hamilton directly in front of him. These two were going side by side, a very close battle for the two. Francis Hamilton has gained 4 spots, so he's making his way up through the field. Jordan McGraw is going to be right behind him. He has lost 5 spots, but talking to him before the race, he said, you know, I'm not even sure I'm going to qualify. Obviously, he ended up qualifying unless a whole bunch chose not to, but I think we'll see Jordan McGraw make his way up through the field before the night's over.
Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind we'll see Jordan work his way through the field. Talking about some other guys that have worked their way through the field as well. How about Jonathan Jurgensmeyer right now sitting P11? He's up 8 spots getting closer and closer to that top 10. Jose Ruiz, he's also made up 8 spots, sitting back there in P17. So a couple guys that must just have a very, very good feel for the car, or they're just kind of holding on for this long run, and they've got a little extra oomph to go as everybody else is getting spread out.
You know, it's a fine line of do you want to race really hard and get stage points, or are you going to kind of chill and let these guys do what they need to do and hope they come back to you and you can pass them? So I find it's really a fine line and what you're going to be able to do and accomplish during the race. That's something that I personally struggled with. Is I would either, at the start of the season, I would either drive way too hard and be at the front, the top 3, and then fall back, or I'd not drive hard enough and then fall back from that, but then catch up a few. So it's interesting to see the strategies that these guys take on.
Yeah, it's really all about finding that happy medium, and just finding that happy medium, finding that pace, hitting your marks, and staying consistent. So that's what we're seeing, and you're starting to see some people really get more of a gap on the rest of the field, while we got more movers and shakers like we were just talking about with Jordan McGraw, Jose Ruiz, and others.
We'll take a look at this. Andrew Wisdom, who has gained 5 spots. He is sitting P5 currently, and you can tell these cars are a lot to handle currently. He's got Joe Berg directly in front of him, now beside him, and take a look. Andrew Wisdom just sawing at the wheel, trying to keep it under control. So these drivers they have their hands full with how this car is handling currently. You see the 42 moving up the track. That's going to be Brody Falliker. Meanwhile, this battle for the lead is going to be between Steven Maggio and Josh Taylor.
How about Steven Maggio in that number 51, now up 5 spots? So really holding his own in that Supercars.com number 51. The two, though, carrying that momentum up on the high side. Drag race all the way down the backstretch into turns 3 and 4. The 51 kind of keeping that deuce pushed up against the wall at corner entry. The two trying to hold on. A little bit of side draft. It looks like it's going to be the 51. Caution number 2 flies.
Yeah, I got a notification that might have involved Joseph Turley. Let's see if we can go back and find out what exactly happened with him. He already had a lot of damage to that machine. So unfortunate. I don't even see anything that really happened besides he pulled over, and if that brought out a caution, that is very unfortunate. But I'm thinking that something had to have happened. Let's see here.
Yeah, I'm also getting a notification for Andrew Chapman and Connor Cunningham. Might have been all part of that also.
Yeah, I see that later on. We'll check this out and see what happened here. Rewind that a bit. Connor Cunningham looks like he's getting loose. Going around the corner. Had a little bit of contact there. He might have had a little help from that 16 machine. A fantastic save until he came back hardcore to the right on the track into the 18 machine. So unfortunate. That's going to be Andrew Chapman. That's going to bring out our second caution of the night, Pete.
Yeah, 3 just kind of got tagged a little bit on the right rear. It sent him inwards on the track, and that was kind of all she wrote there. It was kind of hard to save it. Ended up going down towards the apron and back up on track. And by that, at that point, there was nowhere for anybody that was behind him to go.
Got a lot of drivers on pit road here. It looks like about 10 cars on pit road. Tom Flitcroft, Jose Ruiz, Francis Hamilton, Chapman, Jeff No, Jacob Palmer, Matthew Gale, Luke Allen, Oscar, Connor Cunningham, Joseph Turley, a few of those involved in that incident, but a couple more takers than what I was expecting.
Yeah, honestly, it's lap 35. Eliza, we talked about, maybe coming down just 2 laps short of the stage break. Maybe the guys that are coming down now stay out in it'll be 7 laps before the stage flies. Maybe they all stay out while everybody else comes on down pit road. The 51 of Steven Maggio, Josh Taylor, Brody Falker, Andrew Wisdom, and Justin Anasigak, they've all got to stay out. These stage points are going to be huge, especially for Steven Maggio. You talking about Josh Taylor and Justin and a few others. I believe stage points go all the way back to P10, which would be Jonathan Jurgensmeyer.
Do you have a taker? Now it looks like Chuck Cody is going to make his way onto pit lane. Jeff No still out there. Jacob Palmer. But yeah, there's no way. If you're out front, you're staying out there. Positions are just too valuable. No way you're giving that up.
No, not at all. Especially how hard it is to pass at Charlotte once the rest of the field gets spread out. You got to stay out and come in during the stages. And if for some reason you should find yourself in the back later on, you make that call as you need to.
Absolutely. These guys getting ready to go for a few more laps before the stage break here. Lap 36, and we're going to head to 45. So they still do have a few more laps to take on here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. But Steven Maggio looking very strong out here. Josh Taylor in second, Brody Falker third, Andrew Wisdom fourth, and Justin Anasigak sitting P5.
And Joe Berg really showed a lot of promise very early. He was up there battling with the two of Josh Taylor, finds himself P6, P7. Micah Allard again, right where he started. So nothing gained, nothing lost for him. Brendan Book is P8, P9. Jimmy Cocker, and as I mentioned just a little bit ago, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer sitting P10, up 9 spots so far.
All right, I was checking out to see if Steven Maggio was available to chat with, but doesn't look like he is out there in Discord, unfortunately. But hopefully we can see him hold on to this lead for a while. You get bonus points for leading a lap and also most laps led, along with bonus points for stages if you come in the lead or in the top 10. So it's all great to have those points, and we'll see what happens here.
Now, Eliza, I'm not going to try to talk this into existence. The lights atop the pace car are off. They're going to be going green next time by. We saw how slick the tires were on, lap number 1 at the initial restart. These guys have now been green for 30-plus laps. Are they going to have to worry about, getting the car into gear and getting up to speed right off the bat? Are we going to see a little bit of fishtailing? Are we going to see an accordion? What is going to happen here as they're all stacked back up 2 by 2?
Yeah, tire spin can be an issue on these restarts, so that makes me a little nervous with that. And some of these drivers, you have to predict, are they going to get a good restart? You're always on that throttle. You don't want to give up an inch. So these drivers, they're on that throttle, just anticipating on when they can go. So when something immediately happens, it's very hard to switch that mindset from let's go to, oh no, let's get around it. So we'll see what happens here.
That's absolutely a great way to put it. Coming off of turn number 4, the 51 is a control car, so he'll be the first one on the throttle. We'll have to see what's on his mind coming into the Shake and Bake iRacing Xfinity Series restart zone. Let's go racing.
Here we go. So far, the 61 is going to fall back. You see Jimmy Cocker have to check up a bit to let him get on. And we see Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in that double O on that outside. Looks like that high side fell apart pretty quickly, and a lot of drivers moving down low.
Yeah, the 51 absolutely took off, shot out of a cannon. Right now, looks like the 4 of Justin Anasigak and Brendan Book. Little bit of a battle there. Justin up on the high side. Looks like actually that's not Brendan Book. That's going to be Brody Falker, excuse me. But still, that 4 up on the high side. They're side by side, coming across the line. to start lap 39.
Here we go. Just a few more laps before we head to the stage break of the end of stage 1. So these guys still going back and forth. That is going to be Brody Falliker and still Justin. And Brody's going to fall in line behind Justin, so he's going to be P5. Floey, these guys do a great job. Absolutely. It is so nerve-wracking, but these races have been very, very clean. I'm going to knock on some wood again, but yeah, they've been really, really fun to watch.
There was a little bit of a battle back there with the 81 of Forrest Smith and the 19 of Jacob Cannon, and they're not done yet. They're going to add the 93 of Joe Berg I believe that was just the 81. All kinds of slideways off the corner, made a little bit of contact with Mr. Cannon.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of movement for these drivers. That 48 getting a little aggressive. He's saying, wait a minute, I want this spot. The 19 has to move up high. That's Jacob Cannon. They get along just fine, but man, oh man, you can tell the stage is about to end.
That 48, he was all kinds of aggressive, made his own lane underneath the 19 coming through the tri-oval. There are some loose cars in the second half of the field.
There most certainly is. You can see these guys just all over that wheel trying to keep control of it, but I see a lot of movement out here. We'll see what happens, but man, there is not a lot of places to go. You can see Francis Hamilton. He's got the 5 machine directly in front of him, a 61 diagonal to him. I do believe, let's take a look. No one to his outside, but Jimmy Cocker is right behind him.
Yeah, Jimmy Cocker right behind. You see the 8 of Tom Flitcroft. You still see the 4 up there. You see the 42, the 61 of Mike Allard. A whole lot of pressure up high as it looks like the 48 of Hamilton. He's going to take it on the outside around the 61. Allard had nothing to say about that.
That is a man on a mission. That's going to put him up to P5 as we're on lap 43 of 200. So this is going to be a long night, but I'll tell you what, these guys look solid. 3 wide back here, absolutely insane. Aggressiveness, here it is, and these guys are not shying away. Meanwhile, Steven Maggio, take a look at this lead over Andrew Wisdom, last season's Charlotte winner.
Absolutely, but you know what? That 48, we were just watching him come around the outside of the 61, now looking low on Andrew Wisdom. Eliza, that is the difference of 44 lap old tires versus tires that just came out of the pits 10 laps ago. Francis Hamilton and Tom Flitcroft both came down on lap 34. Now here they are, 1-2, fighting for the lead.
Absolutely insane. Those fresh tires just taken over. I mean, what a huge power move to the front. Francis Hamilton going side by side with Tom Flitcroft. This is for the lead coming to the finish of stage 1. Who will take it home with the 10 bonus points? We're going to have a look, but man, oh man, absolutely insane. Take a look at these two tires. Who knew they can make such a huge difference? But we saw that fall off, and here it plays out.
Yep, neither one of them gonna give up off of 4. Oh, the 8 and the 48 both tangle. 8 is backwards coming across the start stripe. He'll be lucky if he gets 10th place in stage points, but the 48 takes the stage win.
Wow. Absolutely insane. That's going to be the end of stage 1. Francis Hamilton takes it. Tom Flitcroft. So unfortunate to see. Let's take a look, see if we can find out again what happened here. Just looks like some contact, hard racing. Side by side, that aggressiveness picks up. He just goes a little too high. It looks like possibly some net code even. Let's take a look. Yeah.
Very, very unfortunate. Coming through that tri-oval, the lanes mesh, and sometimes there's just nothing at all that you can do about it. You're concentrating on this battle that you've got going side by side, listening to your spotter, and it just ended up with the 8 going around.
Tom Flitcroft with some damage to that left front and the left rear. Take a look at that. That is going to affect a little bit how that draft works. Remember, guys, no fast repairs. You got to fix the damage. It's going to take you a while. And this is a long race. We're not even to 50 of 200. So these guys have to take their time, make sure that they take care of their machines, but also you got to get those points. That's the fine line. What are you going to do? You're going to go for the points and take care of that machine.
Well, it definitely looked like the 48 and the 8 both had the idea. There were 10 laps to go. They were going to use those freshies to try to charge their way through the field. They did just that. 48 comes away with the stage win. The 8 going down pit road in that Elvis scheme. Gonna spend some time on pit road getting some repairs.
All right, I gotta bring Francis Hamilton into the booth here. Francis, this is Eliza. How you doing?
We're doing well.
All right, take us through. I mean, you were just passing people like they were sitting still. Those fresh tires, very important here.
Yeah, they are, and I have 0 stage points so far this season till now, so I figured we need to get something on the board if we want to make a playoff push. Yeah, this field is competitive, and I saw nobody coming, so I had to take advantage of that.
You definitely did. Got some nice stage points in there. I know there was an incident between you and Tom Flitcroft. On your end, what happened?
It kind of looked like we just came together, unfortunately. I heard it might have been netcode from race control, but yeah, I'm
that's
not
what I was
sure.
seeing. A little bit
It's
of
unfortunate
netcode.
that happened.
Absolutely. But man, you're looking really solid out there. I wish you a ton of luck heading into stage 2. Great to see you out front.
Come forward, thank you.
All right, that was Francis Hamilton right there. We'll move him back down to his team. But he is looking very, very solid, very confident. As he said, this is a very competitive field. You got to take what you can get, Pete.
Yeah, absolutely. If somebody in front of you doesn't come down with that many laps left in his stage, you got to gamble. And tonight, that gamble absolutely worked for the 48. Francis Hamilton, he's right up there, with Brody Falker and Jimmy Cocker, the 7 of Luke Allen, and so many Andrew Sanford, and so many others. That is a very, very stout team. Whether they're running Fords or Chevrolets or Toyotas, they've got so many different parts to Team FIWB, and every single one of them shares any kind of notes or any kind of a feeling that they get about these cars in the short run, in the long run, what they think they might be able to get out of qualifying, and so on. It's a great team with a lot of depth.
Gotta say, Matthew Gale, he's up to P3, up 20 spots from where he started. Luke Allen up 22 spots. So all these drivers that hit a little bit early, man, their position paid off, and they got some nice stage points out here. We'll see how it goes for stage 2, because remember, they are on older tires, so they're definitely going to wear out a little bit sooner, but getting those stage points, that's what they wanted, that's what they needed, and they did it.
Well, they did, and the 48, of course, grabs the stage win. Luke Allen, he went down on lap 34 as well. But now, Eliza, everybody else that just pit on lap 46, they've got 4 brand new Eagle Feel-Goods, so they are going to be hungry. They are going to go around this 48 and the 7, just like the 48 and the 7 were charging their way through the field when we had 10 laps to go to stage number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Steven Maggio and the remainder of the drivers behind him are going to be pretty aggressive, I would imagine, trying to get around these top 3 drivers. We'll see how they go, but you're gonna have to be a little bit patient when you're trying to get around these drivers that are on older tires. It's not too much older, but definitely enough to make a difference.
Absolutely. I apologize. I mentioned Luke Allen was part of Team FIWB. He's actually part of Dart Motorsports. A couple teammates in there as well. But 48, again, he's a control car, watching, seeing that the lights atop the pace car are out. They're coming through turns 3 and 4, about to hit the entrance of the trial to go back green for the start of stage number 2. Eliza, here we go.
Here we go. Another 45 laps. As they look ahead, they know how it is. They went through the first 45, and so I would imagine that they have a couple laps under the belt. It should go pretty smooth.
That 7 completely spun the tires for a while. Big checkup from the 51 on back. So you see the 48 looks like he got shot out of a cannon because nobody on the high side was able to go. There's that tire spin.
Yeah, that tire spin is definitely a thing. We see it race after race when you have guys on older tires. And then sometimes you see the unfortunate misshift where you start off on the wrong gear, And I mean, I see some trouble going on back here. John Honeycutt falling back pretty hard. It looked like someone was about to lose it. And yeah, we have a caution now.
Well, you sure you got
Caution is out. I'll tell you what, that 7 was applying a whole lot of pressure on the high side, trying to take that lead. But Francis Hamilton able to hold him off on the bottom.
Take a look. Oh, man, just chaos everywhere. Tom Flitcroft, Jose, that's 16 of Dylan C. Rob. I mean, just everyone all over the place. So, man, really unfortunate. Not a lot of space, but a lot of cars involved.
Yeah, I saw the tribute machine from Mike Pop Bear Campbell going sideways through the grass. Also, hopefully he was able to keep it off the inside wall. Great looking machine for him as well. Jose Ruiz through the grass after some contact with the 8 and others. 31 right behind, able to woe and slow his machine up.
We can take it back and go from the cockpit view of Jose. Yeah, these 3 cars just got into each other. Nowhere to go. I feel like this season for Jose, he's just been unfortunately involved in a lot of shenanigans. So it's tough to see out there.
Yeah, it really is. You know, Jose, he's one of the guys that streams quite a bit from his POV, and I see him, I want to say at least 3 or 4 nights a week out there, whether it's an Xfinity car, a Cup car, a truck, or I even think maybe some open wheel stuff as well, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Jose and that Team FTR number 23 Columbia machine not boding very well this evening.
No, absolutely not. These guys are getting lined up once again. But man, a tough night for some of these drivers. And again, we still have a long way to go as far as lap count. 53 of 200, 4th caution, but some of those include the stage break here.
Yeah, working lap 53, quarter of the way through this race. Francis Hamilton able to hold off the 7 of Luke Allen on the back half, or just before that yellow came out. Andrew Wisdom up 7 spots to P number 3. How about Matt Gale over in the UK up 19 spots in that number 67. Stephen Maggio, after running 1st or 2nd, right now sitting P5. Micah Allard in his 61 in his Camaro. He's up 1 spot. 6th, 7th is going to be Justin Aniscock, down 6 after starting on the pole. Brody Falliker in that number 42, never ever count him out, sitting 8th, down 4. Brendan Book started 9th, currently running 9th. And how about Jonathan Jurgensmeyer? He was 10th the last time we were talking about him, still up 9 spots in that 10th spot.
Yeah, Josh Taylor, who we saw out front at the beginning, he sits P11, Jacob Cannon in 12th, Jimmy Cocker in 13th, Jordan McGraw in 14th, and Forrest Smith in 15th. So we'll see how these guys fare out. But Philip Bridgman, he's going to be in 16th. Jarrett Cardwell in 17th. Jeff No up here in 18th. And Chris Karch in 19th. Joe Berg, who we saw up front, now P20.
Yeah, Oscar Henson, he's up 11 spots, sitting 21st with Jacob Palmer down pit road. So Chuck Cody's going to go ahead and take that spot, so move him up to 22nd. Jacob Palmer, and then you mentioned Jose Ruiz had some troubles. He's on pit road, sitting 24th. Tom Flitcroft, he is 25th. Mike Pop Bear Campbell back there in the number 71 with John Honeycutt, Dylan Robb, Joe Turley, and Andrew Chapman to round out the top 30, Eliza.
Francis Hamilton gonna lead us back to green on lap 54 of 200. So I think we'll have at least another lap to go. Silent, how are you? Hope you're doing well out there. Crazy race here at Charlotte. It is a loose drive around here, and then we had a setup change from iRacing. So definitely these drivers have their hands full, and we have 200 laps. So absolutely insane, but we do have some beautiful paint schemes out here. Very patriotic paint schemes. And some, Andrew Wisdom, he was funny because in chat he said, I already have a red, white, and blue paint scheme, so how do I make it even more patriotic? And with a couple of his competitors offering some suggestions of what he could do, and he said, well, when in doubt, add another flag.
go. Why not? You know, you mentioned Chloe a little bit ago. She's out there saying, "I knew that pace that safety car would come out of nowhere." Chloe, as long as the safety or the pace car is not leading most laps on any given race, we're still doing all right.
Still doing all right, and those stages will count for some of those cautions. But yeah, we've had a few cautions so far, but it's hard racing, 3 wide, nowhere to go, and I don't remember if that was in the Trioval, Pete, but that is a very, very tricky spot to try to go 3 wide.
Oh, absolutely. Any place around here except for the straightaway is tricky, especially through the trioval. The turn 1 and turn 2 pretty easy going on the car and the input that you put in the wheel. Turn 3 and 4 a whole lot tighter, and that turn 4 wall will come up and bite you. It's not as bad as it is at Darlington, but you definitely get faced towards the wall more than you do going into or coming off of turn number 2. Very, very sketchy, and that's going way back into console days. But we're coming, pace cars coming off pit road. Liza, this is going to be the start of lap 46. Let's go green.
Yes,
56, excuse me.
56, yeah, these guys are already on the move, and it looks like, so far, knock on wood, a good start. They cannot make any passes or change lanes until the start-finish line, so you see that these guys will stay pretty clear until then.
How about Andrew Wisdom taking that little bit of a shot that he got on the restart? 48's going to come on down, try to block his momentum, but it's not going to happen. Maggio right up the back bumper of Andrew Wisdom. Andrew Wisdom down low. 48's on older tires, about 10 or 12 laps or so. And the 51's going to be able to go on up there. Excuse me, the one's going to be able to go on up there and take the lead.
Our points leader, our race leader, and last season's Charlotte winner, Andrew Wisdom, back into the lead here once again. He just won the last race and also has the most wins this season, but Stephen Maggio says, not so fast. I want that lead back.
You know what? These guys running nose to tail or first and second just completely threw me off. The Andrew Wisdom ran the 51 for 2 straight seasons, and now he switches over to the 1, and they are running first and second. That just blew my mind.
These guys doing an amazing job out there. Silent, I appreciate you coming over and keeping us company for a while. Take a look at that sunset, though. Absolutely beautiful. But, man, Stephen Maggio putting some space between him and the field behind him. It is very, very crowded from second on. Take a look at this. Andrew Wisdom going to lead that second pack, and it's going to be Micah behind him, Justin, Luke Allen, Brendan Book, and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. Francis Hamilton moves back to 8th, Brody Falliker 9th, Jacob Cannon 10th.
Yeah, Jacob Cannon had a little bit of an issue in the beginning, and he's worked his way back up through the field very, very nicely for his debut here in the Shake and Bake iRacing Xfinity Series. Now, how about Josh Taylor falling back quite a bit? Jimmy Cocker, the same thing, but it looks like Jimmy Cocker in that number 11 starting to work his way back up in the right direction. May just need that long run.
You can hear some of those tires just screaming. That low side just very, very popular down there. The guys on the high side just trying to keep up that momentum and probably eventually hoping to make their way down low. You see a couple of drivers. The 19 gets loose on that apron. I don't know if he's going to be able to save that. Let's see. There he goes. Yeah, brings out the yellow.
Great driving by the 93 of Joe Berg, seeing the DuPont colors, thinking 24 right off the bat. But yeah, great job by Joe Berg in that 93 to make it through there by going low. Phenomenal heads-up racing.
Yeah, let's see if we can get a rewind on that. But very, very close out there. You can take a look, see what happened here. Just contact with that 42 machine, the 00. It just stacked up, and he hits that apron, which does not help things at all as they stack up. Great job trying to save it, and the driver's trying to get around him, but that will bring out another caution.
Wow, the 2 just narrowly does not get tagged. That could have been phenomenal, or that could have been horrible for Josh Taylor, but phenomenal that he's able to keep it going. 19 made a little bit of contact, but I don't think there's too many that are worse for the wear, except for one car sitting sideways at the entrance to pit road.
I don't see a lot of damage from these drivers. We'll see, hopefully, not a lot of extensive repairs for them, but yeah, some of these drivers down pit lane. Jeff No, Jacob Palmer, Chuck Cody, Oscar Henson, all down pit lane. Jacob Cannon, not down pit lane yet. We'll see if he makes a visit.
Well, maybe he figures these pace laps are going to be enough to bring the tire temperature back on down. Maybe he won't be so mad at him, and the car will be manageable once we go back green.
We're all the way down to 84 degrees out here, so it is cooling off. Not as fast as I thought it might, but yeah, it's definitely cooling off a bit.
Yeah, when we went green, track temp was right around 108. So huge drop in track temp, and like you mentioned, the air temp coming down as well, not as fast. And but I am kind of surprised how much the sun mostly being set has allowed that track temp to come down with how hard they've been racing.
Absolutely. Now let's take a look at some of the biggest gainers so far tonight. Luke Allen, he sits P6 right now, up 18 spots from where he started. And then we're going to have Mike Papa Bear Campbell up 10 spots from where he started. He's currently P20th. And Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, he's going to be up 11 spots and is sitting P8 right now. So a lot of gains for some of these drivers. Andrew Wisdom up 8 spots. Stephen Maggio up 5.
Yeah, Francis Hamilton, after being in the lead on some older tires, he's still up 9 spots, sitting in P9. Philip Bridgman up 7. These guys, there's obviously some comers and some goers, but I see a whole lot of green on that board for some big movement from a lot of people.
Absolutely. I feel like we're going to see that a lot tonight. These guys playing around with tires, strategies, and seeing what they can accomplish and get away with. We do have another stage coming up in about 30 laps or so. So we'll see what these drivers do as we head into the final parts of stage 2. Aggressiveness will pick up, but these guys, they've seen what happens in stage 1, how their car handles. So they have a feel for the car. Now they're just trying to make up all the positions that they can and try to get through that field.
Yeah, we talked about the 48 when he stayed out and led some laps. How about Luke Allen in that 7, up 18 spots right now? He hasn't been on pit road since lap 34. So he's been out there for about another 30 plus laps in that number 7 Mountain Dew machine. And he's been able to hold on for the most part. He didn't go tumbling through the field after that restart and the few laps green we just ran. So big props to driver number 7 and able to hold his own so far.
Absolutely. We'll see if he can continue to do so. We're coming up to lap 65 of 200. Still a lot of racing left, Pete, so anything can happen, but so far these guys are doing all right. Connor Cunningham, unfortunately, is out of the race. Stephen Maggio still going to be leading us off to green once again after our 5th caution, one of those in which was the stage break.
Yeah, working lap 64. Usually we're talking about right around now. It's about halfway through the race, but Eliza, we've got another 35 plus laps to go before we get to halfway. Halfway in tonight's race is lap 100, lap 101. And even then, we wouldn't have even touched the 3rd stage yet. Long way to go. A lot of racing left to run.
It is a long way to go. Everyone was excited. You know what? I figured that we would have some drivers say, oh man, it is going to be a long night. Everyone I talked to said, I'm excited for it. I love Charlotte. I love the long races. Let's do it. So it's been a great thing. These guys have been excited to see that we've had a full 100% race at Charlotte.
Why not? Pace car's going to go ahead and make that hard left turn towards pit road. Stephen Maggio is the control car. He's about ready to jump on that loud pedal. Let's get back. Green flag. Let's go.
High side checks up a little bit, but Stephen Maggio, he is already on the gas pedal and ready to roll. The rest of these guys right behind. They're not going to let him get away too quickly. Micah, he's already making his way up to Steven's back bumper. These guys are ready to roll, Pete.
Absolutely, all along the high side, but 61 says nope. Ducking down low, trying to get underneath the 51. 51 so far not pinching him down. Here he comes down the track, keeping the 61 behind. 51's going to be able to lead this one, but he knows the 61 wants the spot.
Yeah, the 61 wants that spot, and we've seen him up front quite a bit this season. I know he enjoys these cars, so we'll see what he can do, but man, oh man, these guys looking pretty solid. This is the rear view out of Steven Maggio's car. You can see a couple of drivers really fling their car down low, trying to make up those spots. These guys, you would think it was the end of the race, Pete.
Absolutely. I tell you what, that 9 of Philip Bridgman and the 7 of Luke Allen made a little bit of contact in the back. The 7 had to pull low. 9's going to fill in right behind him, back nose to tail, all the way through about P15.
Freddie Falliker sitting P9, down 5 spots from where he started. And man, long single file line. I think these guys have decided, I'm not messing up my machine this early. We're not even to the break of stage 2. Let's keep it single file. Meanwhile, Jordan McGraw sitting P15. Joe Berg, who we saw up front, 16th. Jose Ruiz, unfortunately involved in a couple of incidents. He's 17th. Matthew Gale, 18th. Jarrett Cardwell, 19th. Chuck Cody, 20th.
Yeah, how about Jeff Noe? Last time I talked or saw him, he was running 30th or 31st. Right now up to the 21st spot, up 7 spots. Mike Pop Bear Campbell, he's up 8 in that number 71 for 22nd. 23rd is going to be John Honeycutt in that Team FTR number 50, with Oscar Henson in the 88, up 8 spots in 24th. 25th, Jacob Palmer in that 39 with Nick Cannon in the 19 for 26th. 27th, Dylan Robb in his 16. The 8 of Tom Flitcroft, he's taking over the 28th spot. 29th is going to be Joe Turley with the 18 of Andrew Chapman for P30.
Here's that lead. Maggio has almost a half a second lead over Micah, so you can see that is increasing. I'm not sure for how long though, Pete. These tires do not last long, but you can see around P5 we have a 2-wide battle that's going to be, it looks like, let's take a look, the 9 machine, and it was the 4, now perhaps the 5 here, so that's going to be Brendan Book, and that's going to be a battle for P4.
Yeah, Brendan Book, he went into that middle lane going into the corner. Meanwhile, keeping that 9 pushed up just a little bit. They're going to remain side by side, just like Micah Allard and Andrew Wisdom. They were side by side for just a moment. You got to wonder, Micah Allard might have seen the 51 and how hard he was racing to keep the 61 behind him. Maybe he's just going to go ahead and ease his way, let the 51 try to drive away. I'll see you later.
Yeah, these guys are so close, and these are teammates right here. We have Micah and Brendan Book. So they're right next to each other as teammates, but Andrew Wisdom is going to be on that high side, Micah down below. But these guys so incredibly close, and while they're battling, they're still coming up towards Steven Maggio, so he is not getting away as much as he hoped.
No, not at all. In fact, Andrew Wisdom, he's been faster of the top 3, 4 of the last 5 laps. There was one lap where Maggio was a little bit faster than the top 3, but it was by like half a tenth. So the 1, the 61, and the 5, they're coming.
They absolutely are. Take a look. This is out Andrew Wisdom's rear part of his car here. He's got Micah putting the pressure on him, saying, let's go. Meanwhile, Steven Maggio, just a quarter of a second right behind is going to be Andrew Wisdom. So these guys definitely closing in on him. Brendan Book in 4th, Justin Anasagak in 5th, Philip Bridgman in 6th, and Jonathan is going to take over that spot, taking the low side. It looks like Philip almost got into the wall, but he's just fine.
Now you got to wonder, the 51 of Steven Maggio, he's got a 2-time champ riding right behind him. Does he continue to try to drive away, or does he back up to that driver, knowing that he might be saving him stuff. He's great at saving fuel. He's great at saving tires. Don't try to drive away. You may be in front of him, but still, maybe try to learn something from him. He's great at any kind of race. He's not just a road course ace anymore. This one car can get it done any given week.
You know, if I'm Steven, I'm not going to back off. You know, I want this race. I want this win. I'm not going to drive over what my tires can handle, but I'm not going to give up. But I also, Pete, I will not go side by side for many laps. If that becomes the case, I will let him go because it's just not worth the tire wear that happens with it.
No, you're 100% right, especially if you end up being the one that is pinched down low. If you're up high, you could try maybe a little bit, but you don't want to have to put a whole lot of extra wheel into that thing. You really want to come off the corner, open up the wheel a little bit, let that thing excel up and off, ride the wall like you see them so often do until you got to set your entrance up for the next set of turns, just like you see the 51, the 1, the 61, and the 5 doing lap after lap. It seems like they have kind of found their spot, and they're just waiting to see who's pushing a little bit harder than the next guy, maybe take that spot.
Yeah, we'll see what they do, but lap 77 of 200, around lap 90 is going to be when stage 2 ends here, so they still have a few laps. Let's check on those tires. I mean, the entire top 8 right here is on 30-lap old tires, so all in the same situation. Now it's just how well did you take care of him? Andrew Wisdom is just phenomenal when it comes to taking care of those tires and having that speed. I mean, just a huge improvement over what we've seen from him the last couple of seasons on ovals. And he's starting to take that midline, trying to get that clean air and trying to do what those tires are wanting so that he can get over that lead position.
Oh, absolutely. You really got to try to find that clean air. It's very, very important here at Charlotte and a lot of other tracks that we go to. Getting closer and closer. Next time by will be the start of lap 80. 10 more to go until that stage break. Will it be the way that, will they finish the way they are right now? Or will Andrew Wisdom or the 61 of Mike Allard find it in those tires or in that the feel that they've got for these cars to try to push at the very end?
You know what? I'm back here, P12. I mean, this is about to go for the top 10, but these guys are just getting crazy. This pack was 2 and 3 wide, and it starts with Chris Karch. And he's got Jordan McGraw directly behind him. We got Philip Bridgman in this pack and Joe Berg. So these guys were just incredibly hard racing, trying to make their way up to that top 10. So fun to watch, but you think it was for the win, Pete?
Absolutely. And, you got Francis Hamilton in there. He hasn't been on pit road since lap 34 as he pulls to the inside of the 9 of Philip Bridgman. Jose Ruiz right behind him. So he hasn't fallen back too far. In fact, he's still up 8 spots from where he started. And as we start that next lap, it looks like from about P25 on back is down 1 lap. So those are some guys that had to go down pit road, maybe make some repairs, things like that. But Eliza, you get another caution, you get a lucky dog. Maybe some cars take the wave around, do whatever they've got to do to get back on the lead lap, especially now if that yellow should happen to fly because the stage break is coming up.
Michael Allard, he's getting a little aggressive out here. He's saying, you know what, Wisdom, you gotta move, or I'm going to take that position from you. And he's going to tuck it down low, trying to get his way up into P2. Can he have that momentum on that inside? These two are going to rub side panels here. 61 gets up into the apron, into the 1 car. Has to back it off. Andrew Wisdom does a great job of holding on to it.
Andrew Wisdom completely keeping that 61 pinned down. They've made a little bit of contact, fender to fender. But 61's going to lose that spot and that fight. The 1 now trying to draw a bead back in on the 51. Working lap 83. 7 more laps to go.
Let's take a look. we're back to a pretty sizable gap here, almost half a second. So Steven Maggio, after that battle, has gained some time back in that lead. So we'll see if he can hold on to that lead and take over the 10 bonus points for stage 2. That's going to help him out in the points. He was new driver starting last season, so great to see him out here doing so well. And we'll hope to see him as he goes into the future races do well.
You got to wonder if the 51 trying to keep the 61 of Micah Allard pinned down might have wore out his tire a little bit. He hasn't really made too many big gains on the 51, so Steven Maggio starting to watch that field get smaller and smaller in the rear view. Meanwhile, the 61 of Micah Allard starting to get a little loose on corner exit. He might just be trying to hold on for the end of the stage.
This is the view from Steven Maggio out back. He's got Wisdom back there, 0.6 now. So whatever he is doing, he needs to continue to do so. Only 5 laps left in stage 2, and then we have 110 laps in the final stage, Pete. This is where it's really going to test those drivers. And if we stay green, we're going to see a lot of separation as these drivers have to make a green flag stop, or maybe 2.
Yeah, or maybe 2. They may only have tires enough for 1, as we got another battle for P2. Micah Allard is able to find it in his machine to get back underneath the 1, but the 1's going to try to pull a crossover coming off of 4.
The 5 car all over Andrew Wisdom's back bumper. He is going to battle for this 3rd spot. Andrew Wisdom just doing all he can to hold on. Brendan into the wall a little bit. Brendan and Micah in that 61 machine are teammates. So we have Andrew Wisdom in a sandwich of teammates. And Pump, I see your comment out there. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
But you're not wrong, Pump. She is an absolutely amazing commentator. Couldn't agree with you more.
You too, Pete. I have so much fun with you. I think it's a lot of fun out here, and it's always a pleasure to run out here Monday nights and, get to gab with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Not like we haven't been doing it since 2009, but okay.
No. So true, so true. Steven Maggio, though, incredibly strong, almost a second lead, a second gap over the P2. So Micah gonna take over that spot. Andrew Wisdom in 3rd, Brendan Book 4th, Justin Anasagak. I feel like we haven't talked about him a lot up front, but here he is.
He's a man in the shadows in that number 4. Again, I can't believe the paint scheme on him this evening. But yeah, kind of just running silently inside the top 5. Going to be a good, good stage for him. Going to gain some bonus points. Behind him, how about Jonathan Jurgensmeyer? Last time I talked about him, he was up in 10th place and it seemed like he was in 10th and still in 10th. Here he is now running P6 up 13 spots. Brody Falliker, Josh Taylor, Jimmy Cocker, and Joe Berg round out that top 10. This is it. This is the stage lap.
It is the stage lap here, and Steven Maggio just over a second gap. And Maddie, I see you out there. She says, I enjoy both of y'all in the booth. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. You guys are so sweet. We appreciate you being here and supporting, like I said, the drivers and us. So it means everything. And Steven Maggio going to grab some points. The stage points, an extra 10 points. We're going to cross the top 10 over, and then it should turn stage end.
How about Jordan McGraw bringing it home 11th with Chris Karch, Luke Allen, Francis Hamilton, and Jarrett Cardwell. Maybe you have just a little extra now to start the longest stage of the evening. Like you said, 110 laps for the final stage if you don't count these few caution laps that we're going to have. But Eliza, this next stage, I'm not even going to say if, when it goes green, we're going to see these guys with full pressure on, trying to get on pit road, do the dance on and off, and then get back up to speed and see how it all plays out. Sometimes on and off pit road can be a great equalizer. It can give somebody a little bit of a benefit, or it could also take away if you have a bad stop.
Trouble for Jimmy Cocker. I mean, I saw him blinking out quite a bit, so much so that I thought he was out of the race. We saw him pull down as to not affect anyone else, and you see him trying to catch back up, and Off he disappears once again, so fingers crossed that he is able to remain in the race as he was in the top 10, and he is still not yet back. Pete, I smell trouble.
Yeah, hasn't dropped as of yet. But race control is absolutely watching Jimmy Cocker and anybody else that has any kind of issue like that to make sure that they don't affect the outcome of the race. 51 leading them all down pit road.
Take a look at this busy pit road as we are making our way on down. These guys, everyone's going down. There's no way. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe they might, but yeah, okay, I see a couple. But there's no way any of these top drivers are going to stay out. I mean, it's just too valuable to have those fresh tires.
Absolutely. Just watch the 51 get into his pit stall. He actually kind of shorted it and then gave a little bit of extra shot on the throttle to get up to his signboard. So it'll be interesting to see if he actually holds the lead or if somebody else was able to get in and out of their pit box a little bit better. Drag race off the line between the 61 and 51.
Yeah, Steven beats him out, but man, oh man, 2 and 3 wide trying to get off pit lane and make their way through, but Steven makes it out first, Micah second, Andrew Wisdom third, Justin fourth, Brendan Book fifth, so pretty much the same as they went in.
Yeah, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, talked to him being sixth, came out sixth as well. Brody Falker makes up a spot or two. Josh Taylor, the same thing. Joe Berg and Jordan McGraw able to hold on to P number 10.
All right, Pete. Caution-wise, what do you think we're going to see here? We're going to see, some aggressiveness on the start here. You think people are going to be a little chill? And no, we have a lot of laps left. Let's not be too aggressive yet.
Nah, it's all big picture racing. I think they're going to be absolutely fine. If we do have a caution, it's going to be purely a racing incident. I think these guys know what they have under them. They know what to expect off of new tires. They know what to expect off of old tires. They know what to expect in the short run and the long run. I think we're going to be in for a phenomenal 100 plus laps.
Absolutely. Chloe says so many cautions. All right, well, I can tell you we have stages. So what that does is we give out bonus points. So a caution does come out to bring these drivers to pace speed, which is what we are under now. That ended stage 2. We're going to head to the final stage. So our top 10 drivers got bonus points for ending that stage in the top 10. So 2 of those cautions are simply from stage ends, and we are going to go under stage 3 as we go back to green, and any remaining cautions will be for Rex.
All right, so Eliza, my turn to say, hey, Eliza. In the beginning, in pre-race, I didn't put you on the spot. That spotlight shining on you. You got the mic in your hand.
Oh,
Who
man.
gets it done tonight, Eliza?
That's a tough one. I would have thought Josh Taylor. He is still up here, P8. So that is still a thing that could happen. I'd love to see Steven Maggio come home with a win. I love it when new drivers get into victory lane. So that's always great to see. I'm gonna say Jurgensmeyer.
Okay, nice. I actually I like that pick. And it's funny when you were talking about Josh Taylor, I was actually looking at that number 2 car. So I think he's going to be very, very fast. But I think getting through traffic, he's kind of struggled with that so far. I think you're really going to have a phenomenal stop, getting on and off pit road, not shorting, not exceeding your box, and get the best possible stop in order, as they used to say in NASCAR all the time, the money stop. You're going to have that money stop if it's under green. If it's under caution, it kind of is. You're at the mercy of your AI pit time. But I think Micah Allard in that number 61, he's shown a lot of charge up through the field. He knows how to control that machine under a long run as well. I think Micah Allard gets it done.
Right, let's see what happens here. We've seen him up front a lot. He definitely has a great shot, and he's looking so strong here at Charlotte. I wouldn't put it past him to get here in victory lane. It'd be great to see. So we'll see. We got Micah, Jonathan. You guys let me know in chat what you think Austin says, love the addition of stage points. Happy it's here this season. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was definitely new. We weren't so sure. We were ready to, see how it goes. And it's been a great addition so far. And I know the drivers are enjoying it.
All right, coming to the Frozen Toes 24. Restart box 51 is the control car. He's got the 4 Justin Aniscock right behind. 61 of Micah Allard and the 5 of Brenda Book. That's the top 4. 51 on the loud pedal. Let's go.
I'll tell you what, Steven Maggio does not let anything get past him. He is just on it, ready to go. And right behind him is going to be Justin as he gains a couple of spots here in P2. Micah in 3rd, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer up 15 spots from where he started, sitting P4.
Yeah, Brody Falliker down 1, but still inside the top 5 with Josh Taylor. You were just talking about him. Caution's out.
Like it's going to involve Jordan McGraw, Dylan C. Robb, Tom Flitcroft. Let's see. This thing hasn't slowed down enough for me to even catch up, so try to back it up here and see what happens.
Yeah, it looks like the 11 of Jimmy Cocker might have caught a piece of that also. So 4 driver involved caution as the pace car picks up the field.
Oh man, this starts way even before that happens. Very, very interesting. Jose Ruiz involved in that one also. See if we can back it up just a little bit more here.
Ugh. Hard shots in the back.
.34 just looks like Jordan McGraw loses it. Everyone tries to make their way around, but just pure chaos. And the 31 loses a hood. Jordan McGraw just damage all over the place on his hood, the left, the right, the front, the back, you name it. So I'm not sure he's going to be able to finish out this race. Take a look at that left tire. Yeah, he's definitely hurting Pete.
Yeah, he's hurting a bit. So is actually the 14 of Jeff No. Jeff No made a hard right turn to avoid him. Put himself up in the wall a little bit. Not quite sure how much damage he's got, but big move by the 14.
Just goes to show you that even when you're not being aggressive, the car can just cut loose underneath you. It's just these cars, Xfinity cars, are very, very loose to begin with. And the setup changes here definitely changed how they feel. And I can tell you, they are a lot to handle, especially the first few laps on cold tires.
I wonder, Eliza, if you were to put a poll out there among all shake and bake drivers, how many of them would vote to go back to the Cup car? They were always saying that the next gen, it's loose. These things are a real wheelman or wheel lady's car. So you got to be able to hold on to them all the way around. And tonight, the longest race at a track that can be somewhat loose until you get that ride in. Have to see if cautions will now breed cautions, or people going to start getting a little aggressive because maybe they don't want to be in the back. They want to get on up there where the racing has been somewhat clean for the most part.
I think for this, it's just hard because, these cars are very loose, but I think everyone prefers them over the Cup cars, at least for the most part. The Cup cars were known to just snap at random times. You couldn't really rely on what you felt from the car. You'd be fine 1 second and then just absolutely no saving it into the wall the next. With these cars, you're loose. You know what to expect. So a lot of drivers prefer these simply because, 1, they're different, but 2, you can kind of rely on what the feeling is going to be in the cars from the start.
Yeah, you can. Going into turn 1 and 2 is sketchy no matter what you're racing, whether it's these Xfinity, the truck, the next gen, that doesn't matter. But in the long run, I want to say that these cars are actually better than both the truck and the next gen. The trucks, they get very, very tight very quick. The next gen, they can break loose on the long run. I think these Xfinity cars really are that happy medium. Not only are they the middle series, but I think these cars are best all the way around, and that's probably why so many wanted these cars for this season.
Yeah, we took a vote over several options, and this won overwhelmingly. And I'm not a fan of them. I will say I'm not a fan of the Xfinity cars, so I was a little surprised, but everyone said just give it a chance. They've changed a lot because I'll be honest, I haven't driven them in a couple of years. That's how much I dislike them. But yeah, everyone said just give them a chance. They've changed a little bit, and so far from when I've driven it every week, it's been a lot of fun.
All right, all stacked back up 2 by 2, all the way back. Lights atop the pace car are out. Gonna go back green on lap 101. So now we are officially halfway through tonight's race. You talked about the stage cautions being, or counting for 2 of the 7 that we've had. So 5 cautions for racing incidents. I think we go back green and we stay that way for a while now. I think all the bad luck, all those gremlins now behind us.
Let's hope. You guys in chat, give me some of your good mojo. We need some good luck out here, and no cautions. I want to see this thing go straight through. I want to challenge these drivers through green flag pit stops, see how they perform, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, we kicked the race off right around 8:20. Now coming up on 10 o'clock, halfway there, we're doing pretty well.
Here we go. We'll see what happens here. But man, another 100 laps, Pete.
Yep.
It's going to be another part of the race here, and Steven Maggio going to lead us off once again. Justin in second, Micah third, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, he's up there also, and Steven Maggio, he's got some company. He did not get away as much as he has the last several times. Justin is right there on the high side, right next to him.
Yeah, that 4 really got a great start. Didn't see a whole lot of wheel spin out of anybody. The 61 of Micah Allard, he's going to stay right there with him. 4 pushing the 51 all the way into turns 3 and 4. Let's see if that high side momentum works for that number 4 machine coming off. 51 is going to lead that, but not without a challenge.
Trouble in the back, and that is most certainly going to bring out a caution. Matthew Gale, it looks like he is through. Chris Karch involved, Mike Papa Bear Campbell, just mayhem in the back. So I don't know. We're sending good luck vibes, but it has not worked just yet. Third time is a charm, let's say. But man, oh man, rough start on this one.
Yeah, Mike Papa Bear Campbell came over team comms and said that he tried to save it, but every time he got back into the throttle, it just wanted to come around, had no grip. So there it is. I mean, we talked about how loose these things are on that first lap, coming back, whether on new tires or coming back off of a restart, and just not able to catch it in that number 71.
Take a look at just how long Papa Bear tries to save that. I mean, he gave it his best shot. Absolutely incredible. Through the entire turn, Pete, just unable to do so.
Yeah, and then he ultimately ends up fencing the machine. You see the 40 of Karch. That's where he got involved. But great job by Mike for locking that number 71 patriotic machine down. His Network Alliance for Veterans, number 71, with all kinds of red, white, and blue goodness for that paint scheme. Absolutely love that paint scheme.
Absolutely. Chuck Cody on pit lane fixing some damage. Jimmy Cocker, who finished out the stage strong, but then we saw him blipping out, whatever you want to say, out of the race here, but he sits P27. Really tough break for him. And Jordan McGraw, after that hard hit earlier on, losing it, he is still on pit lane trying to fix that machine up.
Jungle Cat Wizard out there in chat says, well, we're busy in the tower tonight. Y'all know that that guy by his name of Tom Harmon usually drives the Avril Lavigne number 68 Silverado or Camaro in any other series, but a phenomenal driver in his own right along with Brian Pizzichemi, a couple guys that decided to step away from driving duties this season for Shake and Bake, and we definitely appreciate everything that they do up in the tower every single week.
Absolutely. They are most definitely keeping busy out there, so we appreciate you. And we're trying to send you guys some good mojo and make sure this race is clean for the remainder of it. But man, tough conditions out here, and it does not seem like these cars are getting any tighter on these restarts.
No, not at all. It's really about how well you get into the corner, and then how aggressive you are getting back in the throttle for the exit. And even if you hit your marks doing that, I mean, you're not wide open yet. You are just about, but you still really have to watch your line getting into the corner. You don't just want to turn it left and possibly get under, get off of the track, slightly get onto the apron with your left side tires, and throw the car out of balance. So even though it's on the start, there's still a whole lot going on right there.
Absolutely. These guys are getting ready to head into turn one. Another lap left onto the yellow flag here. Heading to 106 of 200. So we're slowly but surely getting there. Like I said, I want to see it go green. If we want to get all the cautions out of the way right here, let's let it be. And from here on out, stay green.
Yeah, looking at the weather, and now that we are under total darkness, just the track lights keeping everything illuminated. Track temp has kind of stayed right about where it was before at 86 degrees. Air temp has come down a degree or two, down to 81. That same bit of wind that you were talking about earlier, just a very, very slow 3 mile per hour. Sim time now just about 5 minutes to 9 East Coast time. Down the backstretch, these guys go into turns 3 and 4. Lights top the pace car should be going out this time to go back green.
See what happens here, but Steven will be leading us back to green when we do go back. Justin in second, Micah in third, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer fourth, Brody Falliker in fifth, and Brendan Book looking on the outside end of that top 5.
Yeah, Josh Taylor trying to work his way back up, sitting 7th. Joe Berg right with him, who showed a lot of promise earlier in that number 93. Luke Allen, he's sitting 9th, still up 15 spots, 8 spots up for Francis Hamilton for P number 10.
For Smith in 11th, Jarrett Cardwell in 12th, Jacob Palmer 13th, John Honeycutt 14th, and then in 15th we have Oscar Henson. 16th is Philip Bridgman, and then 17th is Dylan C. Robb, 18th Mike Papa Bear Campbell, 19th Jeff No, 20th is going to be Andrew Wisdom.
Yeah, Andrew Wisdom way in the back, kind of surprised by that. Jeff No has made a couple of stops on pit road to repair some of that right side damage he got when avoiding Jordan McGraw down the backstretch. Behind those guys, Chris Karch, Tom Flitcroft, Jacob Cannon, Matt Gale, Jose Ruiz, Chuck Cody, Jimmy Cocker, Jordan McGraw, Joe Turley, Andrew Chapman, and Connor Cunningham. Few of the last ones are out of the race. Lights atop the pace car are out, Eliza. I'm talking it into existence right now. We're going green. We're going to stay green. 51 and 4. They got a great restart before. We're in for another great show starting right now. Let's go.
Steven Maggio going to lead them off, and you can see Justin already anxious to get on that pedal right there. And we're off and running. There is a car on the track back there. Not sure what's going on, but there he goes in the grass.
Yeah, somebody was saying something about the 23 of Jose Ruiz having some wheel issues. Not quite sure if that's who you're talking about. I missed it. But down the backstretch, it looks like the 51, he's got a shove. A big shove all the way into turns 3 and 4. That's going to be Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in that 00, old buckshot numbers. The 4 is going to fall back to P3. Mike Allard and Brendan Book, nose tail into 1 and 2.
On board with Micah, and he's sitting P4 looking at the front cars here. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer up 2 cars ahead, up 17 spots, and take a look at Micah. I mean, just all over that wheel, trying to control it out of turn 2 as we head into turn 3 and 4. But man, oh man, sunset is beautiful. The night sky is over us. And these guys, single file, as we head into the next lap.
Boy, I tell you, I wonder if the nighttime is the right time for Steven Maggio. He was able to scoot away earlier. Gonna wonder if he's able to do the same thing now. Is he pushing? The last time he was on pit road, right along with everybody else that's behind him, was on lap 92. Yeah, we've had a couple of cautions, couple of heat cycles maybe in these tires. 4 able to hold the bottom line right in front of the 61. The 5 is the trailer on that train, the caboose on that train. Then a little bit of a break back to Brody Falliker in that one. I'm sorry, in that, see, I said it again. Not the one, the 42. Never, ever count out Brody Falliker in that machine. He always works his way to the front when it's the right time.
And these guys are really, really crowded. That's going to be Josh Taylor, Francis Hamilton, Forrest Smith, Luke Allen, you name it. They are side by side. And that is going to be all the way up to P5 on back. So these drivers going for everything that they can. You would think this is for the final few laps. We still have like 89 to go.
Yeah, there's no weather in the NASCAR series as of yet. There's no rain coming. You can cross that out. But I tell you what, behind the 5 and the 42, they are double wide right in front of the 7 of Luke Allen, as well as, I want to say that's the 50. Who is that back there? Is that the 50 of John Honeycutt?
Sure is. You can see him back there and on board with Luke Allen. Let's take a look here. On board with John Honeycutt sitting P12, you can just see how crowded these guys are. Just not a lot of places to take it, but John Honeycutt's going to take it down low underneath Luke Allen. He's got Forrest Smith directly in front of him, Josh Taylor, Brody Falliker, and Francis Hamilton. Still a long line, and it looks like these guys are going to be catching up to a lapped car.
Yeah, I've been seeing John Honeycutt, running the Nintendo scheme, usually with the Melody Woodworks or the High-Tech Securities or something like that, completely throwing me off in these colors. But that green and that white absolutely popping under these Charlotte lights.
Thomas Harmon said, should have been another immediate yellow. Papa Bear got punted. That iRacing said, nah. Off to
that
green.
Even iRacing wants it to go green.
Yeah, it looks like Papa Bear Campbell is on pit lane trying to fix that machine. Jacob Cannon, he is on pit lane, and Jordan McGraw still sits there from earlier on. Really unfortunate, but take a look. New leader, Pete. Micah. He is out there in that 61 machine leading with Steven Maggio in second, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in third.
All right, so this is going to be a brand new feel for the 51 of Maggio. He has had nothing but clean air on the hood of his Toyota for quite a while. Now he's got all that dirty air coming off the Chevrolet of Micah Aller. He's got Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in that 00, who has shown a lot of speed. Basically spent some time right around 10th to 15th. Now slowly but surely working his way up. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer could very, very well be there for a great podium position.
Micah looking pretty good. I mean, he's been up here the entire night. Could he become another winner out here and head to victory lane? We'll have to find out. But we have had 3 different winners. Brian McCann, who won at Daytona. Andrew Wisdom, who won at Atlanta. Rockingham saw Brody Falliker get his first win of the season. And Road America saw Wisdom head back to victory lane.
Yeah, so a couple different winners. It would be great to see Micah go ahead and grab a set of checkers for himself as well. One thing he hasn't been able to do is put the whole race together, so I'd love to see him in this Nitro Motorsports number 61 grab that W. I don't want to see him push. I want to see him have a great race, control what you can control, and try to grab those checkers.
On board with Jonathan Jurgensmeyer sitting P3. You can see Steven Maggio directly ahead. These guys nose to tail. And right next to him is going to be Justin Anasugak, and he is not going to head nose to tail. He's going to go side by side on that high side and try to use that momentum. Unable to capitalize on it just yet, but he's going to keep trying.
Yeah, he's got that high sign really working for him with a little bit of draft on the straightaways with Maggio right in front. Looks like he might be able to clear the double O this time. Nope, double O throws it in just a little bit, but the 4 stays up high. He should be able to clear him on the exit of 4, so he does. Put the 4 back in P3.
Yeah, great job by the 4 car to get through traffic, and that's going to put him in 3rd, as Pete said. And he's looking solid tonight. I know he said he's not very good at Charlotte, and I think he told me that a top 10th or 13th was his highest finish here at Charlotte. We'll see if we can't make that a change tonight.
What an overachiever, I tell you. But now Brendan Book sitting back there in P5, still up 4 spots and really holding his own. Brendan Book, very, very great racer. I mean, he's been around for every season so far of Shake and Bake. Spent a little bit of time up in the admin tower. Spent a lot of time in his number 5 on and off the track between seasons. Behind him, again, Francis Hamilton in the 48. He's led some laps. Brody Falker, he's working his way up towards the front as well in his number 42. Josh Taylor led early and right now finds himself P8. Joe Berg in that 93 ran into a couple issues earlier, but has also spent a little bit of time up front. But how about the guy in P10 right now? Forrest Smith in that number 81 Camaro finds himself up 4, working his way frontward.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job out there. And Luke Allen sitting P11, up 13 spots. We've seen him up towards the front the entire night, so he's doing a great job. Jarrett Cardwell in 12th, and he's up 8 spots from where he started, so he's made some nice gains in this race from when it started. Philip Bridgman up 4 spots, sitting P13. Andrew Wisdom, not sure what happened to him, but he has fallen from where we saw him up in the top 3. He sits P14.
He actually went down pit road and pit on lap 104. That's why we saw him back in about P20. But you know what? Those brand new Eagle Feel Goods are starting to be just fine. He's got an extra 12 laps on those tires versus everybody else that's in front of him. They all went down pit road on lap 92 or maybe lap 97 for Philip Bridgman. Jacob Palmer and Dylan Robb also both on lap 92. But it looks like Jeff No, when he fixed up a little bit more of the damage on his TJ's team number 14, he was also on pit road last on lap 104. So all the way through top 15, top 17, there's a lot of comers and goers. But Eliza, that one, never, ever count him out.
Absolutely. Oscar Henson, 18th. Chris Karch is going to be 19th. And from there, Tom Flitcroft, he is going to be 20th. And that's going to round out your top 20. You can see John Honeycutt. He is out of the race. I know he had a shoulder injury coming into tonight. Said he could barely move his arm. Actually had to pick up his right arm with his left hand to even put it on the wheels. So hopefully he's doing all right. And I see him out of the race. So I wish him a lot less pain moving forward.
Yeah, I know a lot of these guys, and we've talked about this before, Eliza. If you're already hurting, it's going to make these wheels and the force feedback and some of these things will make it a ton worse. He cracked the top 10, maybe just could not do it anymore. It would have been interesting to see how he fared as the night would have gone. But John, definitely hope you get back to feeling better very, very soon, my friend.
Michael looking like he's enjoying being out front here. He's got Steven Maggio directly behind, just under 0.3 behind. So he's got some company, about 4 cars in a pack. And that's going to go all the way up to Brendan Book, who is just under a second. Then Brody Falliker going to lead that second pack. He's going to be P6. Francis Hamilton, who we saw up front, man, he's had a great strategy this race. I really hope he finishes out here in the top 10. He's had a fantastic season. This car just agrees with him. It's great to see.
Yeah, there's Team FIWB teammate paint schemes, the 42 and the 48. Again, I talked about just how deep that team runs. Well, there's just another great example. The 2 of Josh Taylor right now finding himself in 8th with Joe Berg and Forrest Smith right behind. Him and Forrest Smith used to run long time ago together back in the console days. Caution's out.
Cool your stuff.
Looks like involving Jordan McGraw once again, and he was on pit lane, so not sure what exactly happened. Let's see if we can get a view, but man, we go immediately on him, and all I see is him getting sideways. Yeah, just loses it coming off the corner. Those fresh, cold tires. Stayed all that time to repair his car, and unfortunately just couldn't hold on to it. Oh, right in front of the leaders, too.
Very, very unfortunate. Yeah, Jordan McGraw, he's a very good driver. Just sometimes they get away from you. If I told you I'd never done that, I'd be lying.
That's a scary situation to be in front of the leaders, especially you just fixed your machine. You don't want to have that happen. So I know everyone, it was a close call.
I actually did that once. You may recognize the name James Litzenberger. We were racing at Dover a while back. He was leading the race. He had a good lead over the rest of the field. And I was coming off pit road, completely lost it. Actually, no, I take that back. I was going on to pit road, completely lost it, missed the water barrels, came up, took him out, lost him the race. So I've been there.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we all have, for sure. These guys going in for another stop. Most of the entire field, except for Brody Falliker, Francis Hamilton, Joe Berg, Luke Allen. So these guys taking those fresh tires and trying to come out once again. But we still have quite a few laps left. About 71 laps or so. We'll see what happens with it.
Eliza, top four stayed out. Brody Falliker, Hamilton, Berg, and Allen. Last time they were on pit road, lap 92. Everybody else just now coming off pit road from lap 128. Those are going to be some old tires. We saw a little bit of an accordion effect before. Being that the top two are teammates with Joe Berg and Luke Allen right behind, I'm going to guess there's going to be a little bit of communication between these guys as to when they're going. We might. I think we're going to see some issues or an issue with those wheels slipping and sliding a little bit.
Yeah, that tire spin is going to be absolutely a threat as we get ready to go back to green in a couple of laps. But Brody Falliker, we've seen him do so well, and then late in a race, just randomness happens, and I've seen him hit it on the apron a couple of times and just lose it, or he said he had trouble in pit lane on one of his last stops, so I'm hoping he can keep it clean and stay up front here, but he's got quite the challenge ahead of him as he's on some pretty old tires here.
Absolutely, and with 70 laps to go as of right now, nobody can make it the entire distance. Everybody will have to stop at least one more time, depending on what happens with these yellows. 8 cautions for racing incidents. We'll have to see what happens with this 42 and this 48. Brody Falliker, very, very comfortable being up front. Maybe he just wants to see what the clean air will be like on the hood of his Camaro, and he's got some teammates behind to really not apply any immediate pressure.
Yeah, I mean, these two definitely have to work together. Brody Falliker, Francis Hamilton, you know that there was going to be communication with the two going back to this restart, just saying, hey, this is when I'm going, and you can count them down, get both lines working, and maybe we might see Francis Hamilton try to sneak his way into the low line directly in front of Joe Berg as they head back to green. We'll see how it works out for these two. It'll be very interesting, but tire spin going to be a definite threat. We'll see how it works out.
Micah Allerdy's been very, very fast. Was able to lead some laps up until that caution. He's going to be the first one on the newest tires. So he's going to show that speed. He's going to show it very, very soon. I imagine he's going to make that high side his friend and make up a few spots. But at the same point, he's not going to want to try to get not going to want to stay, I should say, side by side with these guys in some of the most challenging parts of the track, we'll say. But he's also got the 4 of Justin Aniscock to his outside. So the 61, the 4, and everybody else behind him all came down pit road on lap 128. Again, the top 4, just to recap, did stay out Lights atop the pace car are out, going into and off of turns 1 and 2, getting ready to go down the back stretch. We're going back green this time, Eliza, to start lap 132. A lot of racing yet to go. I don't know if I would have stayed out if I were in the top 4.
Yeah, it's a tough call. I mean, these drivers, they have 2 sets left to take, if I'm not mistaken. So it's very tempting that I'm kind of thinking that they might be regretting their decision, or maybe they have some kind of grand strategy that they're going to pull out of the box here. But yeah, if I were them, I'd probably be rethinking my decision. But we'll see how it plays out. And man, it's going to be a tough restart here. They're going to have a lot of drivers looking to make the move past them as we get going to green.
Yeah, coming to green this time. Pace car going to go ahead and pull off. Teammates lead the field back to green flag. The only way I see them keeping the field behind them is to stay 2 by 2. 48
Woo.
Slipping and sliding all over the place under throttle. Here we go.
Yeah, we'll see how they fare, but man, oh man, you can tell the tire spin was real as they had a couple of them falling back. Francis Hamilton, Luke Allen, all of these drivers that were out front starting to fall back. But Brody Falliker, he's going to be in that lead. Micah going to be in second. Joe Berg in third. And Micah, he takes over the lead here.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be long until he made that move. Great save by Steven Maggio. Got under the apron going into the turn, able to save it all the way through. And going to find himself back there in about... Oh boy, he fell back quite a bit. Actually, he fell back to P6, so great save for the 51. 61 now in control.
A lot going on midfield. We saw some drivers below the apron on the backstretch made their way back up, but Brendan Book going to take that inside line, and he's going to have some followers. That's going to be Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, the 51 of Steven Maggio, and he's going to have Joe Berg on that high side. So the 42 of Brody Falliker, he is just getting eaten up on these old tires.
Yeah, just getting frame trained on that bottom side. Steven Maggio is going to clear himself across that 48. 00 and the 5 now. 5 is going to try to keep it pinned down. 00 has no choice but to back out. 5 is going to be able to keep the spot. So move Brendan Book furthest up he's been all night long, right behind his teammate in P2.
Yeah, you talked about in a previous race that Brendan Book said, I'm having fun. I feel like I'm back here. And tonight, he's just doing a phenomenal job of making his way up to the front. He gained 7 spots from where he started. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer up 16 spots, and he is still my pick to win tonight. Looking strong. We just need to get him up in that front spot.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's getting 1 spot closer, trying to pass the 5 on the bottom side, able to slide on up in front of that CI Cincinnati, I should say, machine for Brendan Book. So move Brendan Book back to P number 3. 00 is on the charge. I don't know if he's going to have anything for the 61. The 61 of Micah Allard, he's really been sealing that car on the bottom side, going through the turns and right up against the wall on the straightaway.
On board with Micah, we're seeing the rear view from him, and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer making his way up to his back bumper. Brendan Book about a half a second behind. Steven Maggio, 0.68, sitting P4. So these guys in a long, long line once again. Right now, we're just in a spot, Pete, where we just got to log these laps, make sure we're taking care of the machine, because right now it doesn't matter. It's that last lap that does.
Absolutely. Here comes Maggio back underneath the 5 of Brendan Book. So he's going to try to go ahead and take that spot just like you saw the 00 do. And it looks like the 51 is clear. Next car to try to do the same thing possibly. Look who's back. Josh Taylor in that number 2, looking to take over P5.
On board with Josh Taylor, and you can see him right behind the 5 car. You can see these guys letting off quite a bit, trying to take care of their machines here. And you can just hear the tires just squealing as you're going through the corner. Very, very touchy for him. He is not going all the way down. There he goes all the way down, but you got to take care of it. Hug that bottom.
Tell you what, this 00 with Jurgensmeyer absolutely stalking the 61. A couple times he's been right on that rear spoiler. The 61, though, trying to keep that thing as low as possible, trying to dump as much dirty air on the hood of the 00 rather. 00 that time off with 2. way up by the wall, just completely opened up the wheel. 61 though able to stay in front. I don't know if the 61 is making that. I'm sorry, if the 00 is making that 61 push harder than he wants to or not. I guess we'll see in the long run as we start lap 140.
Absolutely. I see you out there, David. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a great race, the longest race of the season. Still have quite a bit to go, but it is a challenge to man and machine here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. These guys are running well, though. We have stage breaks, 2 of them, and I believe we've had 7 cautions. So very loose conditions out here on a brand new setup that iRacing put out. So these guys have a lot to handle.
Yeah, they really do. And I tell you what, another one that's got a lot to handle is the 5 of Brendan Book. He's seen the 2 of Josh Taylor play a whole lot of peekaboo in his rear view. You see the 2 try to go low, the 5 will go on down to pick that up. Meanwhile, the 5 is following the 51 of Maggio as Maggio's starting to reel in the top 2.
Steven Maggio has just done a phenomenal job the entire night. Up here in the top 5 for most of the night, if not all of the night, and leading several laps. He's gained 3 positions from where he started. So he absolutely has to love Charlotte. If he doesn't, I will be very surprised, but great to see him do so well out here.
Yeah, taking after you. Maybe he wants to earn a little favor from the one and only Eliza Bethel and say, hey, this is my favorite track too. I can have a whole lot of good luck and a lot of success here as well in the Queen City. A lot of teams call this place home. And I mean, he's driving at HendrickCars.com number 51. That shop is literally like 4 miles from the track.
Absolutely insane. But take a look at our leader out here, Micah, still in the lead with Jonathan Jurgensmeyer right there, but still not at his back bumper. Will that happen shortly? It's 144 of 200. Still quite a few laps left to go. These guys have to take care of their tires, but they also will have to pit again. So making sure that you're out front and get a good entry onto pit lane is going to be huge for these drivers. You have to nail pit road. If we stay green, that is the most important thing you have to do.
Yeah, you got to wonder if 4 drivers now right around mid-pack are double thinking, staying out before. You look back at Brody Falliker in P12 and Joe Berg in 13th. They're separated by Dylan Robb, who came down on 130, but Francis Hamilton and Luke Allen, they're 15th and 16th respectively. I'm thinking maybe they thought, cautions would breed cautions. They'd come on down a little bit later. Maybe once they thought they're getting a little bit closer to their fuel window or whatever the case may be. But they've fallen back quite a bit since being the leaders when we took the restart.
Absolutely. These guys are starting to spread out. You can see the track map here, and there's barely a portion of the track not filled with a car, and it looks like the back stretch is going to be the main empty part. But our leader eventually might run into that 21 machine before the race is over, and that's going to be the 21st spot, I should say.
Eliza, we were talking about the air temp and the track temp and all that a little bit ago when we had a couple of, somewhat back-to-back cautions. I mentioned that the track was down to about 86. Well, we've got this green flag run going now, and track temp is back up to almost 90. So these guys really bringing the temperature of the track back up, although we're back in the heat of the night, we can call it.
Yeah, bringing the heat on the track. These guys, you would think it's always the final lap with these drivers. They put their passion and heart out into it, and it shows out on track. It's so fun to watch, but take a look as Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, he was all over the back bumper of the 61, and I think that air upset his car. He had to back off a little bit, and he'll make his way back up there, but can he take over the lead? Soon to find out.
Yeah, he's been looking low a couple times, then looking high on the other side of the track, just trying to figure out where the 61 may go. May be looking at which lines the 61 of Micah Allard has been taking as they come across the start stripe to to start lap 149, 150 next time. So just about 3/4 of the way through this race, 50 laps to go next time.
I'm just curious how these guys, how their car is driving right now. We've seen so many drivers get loose just randomly. Has it tightened up? I know in practice for me, it tightened up, but I had a lot of drivers say no. In fact, it did not tighten up. It got more loose. So I feel like they've gotten a little bit tighter, but man, I would love to chat with them and see how it feels right now.
Just grab Micah and pull him on up, even though he's in the heat of a battle, and say, hey, how's your car feeling? And actually, right now may not be the best time as the 00 tags that outside wall by Micah coming on up, clearing himself. Might have a battle for the lead here as Maggio pulls himself into this mix. 1, 2, 3 across the line.
Yeah, not what Jonathan Jurgensmeyer wanted, nor Micah, but here is Steven Maggio, and I'll tell you what, Jonathan was all over the back bumper of Micah saying, here I am, trying to rattle his cage a little bit, but these guys nose to tail for the top 3, trying to break away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, Steven Maggio, he has been fastest 3 of the last 5 laps, 2 of those laps by more than a tenth. So that 51, he's been coming while maybe the 00 and the 61 maybe pushing a little bit harder to try to get away from the rest of the field. Battle for P2.
Battle for P2 side by side, and this is going to allow Brennan Book to try to make up some time and get up to that pack, but he's got a while before he can make it up there. These guys starting to separate in the top 3, but you can see, you saw a little peek, sneak preview. We have some cars up ahead, but Micah, take a look at how loose he is, really playing games with that throttle, trying to feather it, trying to keep it straight ahead.
Yeah, I mean, coming off that corner, he's turning to the right. He is so loose to about 1 o'clock or so. Trying to keep the 00 behind. 00 and the 51 had a little bit of an issue playing fender tag, and it cost the 00 and the 51 just a little bit of time. Brought him back into the grips, or the clutches, I should say, of just about the 5, and there's Josh Taylor right with him. So almost a 5, or you could call it a 6-car breakaway with Justin Anasagak.
Yeah, these guys are on the move, but watching Micah, I'll tell you what, these guys have their hands full. I mean, you can just hear him burping on and off the throttle, trying to maintain control of it, and maybe perhaps trying to get all he can out of fuel-wise, but these guys will have to go in shortly. Jacob Cannon says, my engine blew up, our race is over for the 19. And that was going to be his debut race, so sorry to hear that, but man, Charlotte, it is brutal on Man and Machine, and we've seen it here tonight for several drivers, but I'll tell you what, Jacob, you did a great job from what we saw out here before that.
What I believe next is Bristol.
Bristol.
If I'm not mistaken. So next week, a completely different feel. Head on over to Thunder Valley, last great Coliseum, whatever you want to go off of in Bristol, Tennessee. It's going to be a phenomenal race. We'll see you there next week, Jacob.
Absolutely. Sandy says, wishing I was there with y'all. Hope the race has been good. We are definitely missing you out here. Hopefully you're on vacation. That would be good stuff. So hopefully you're not here because you're on vacation. I'm just going to assume so. But yeah, it's been a great race. A tough one for sure. 156 of 200 laps. Still a lot of racing left. When do you think we're going to see these? Okay, I was going to say, when do you think we're going to see our next pit stops? But I think it's going to be now.
Come down 150. Actually, I don't know if pit road will be open this time. It looks like Jeff No's motor may be close to expiring. Just saw it smoking up a little bit right there. So it'll be interesting to see who comes down pit road, or if anybody stays out, thinking that we might have back-to-back cautions. It'll be very, very close to being able to make it from here, as Joe Berg really has a serious problem.
Yeah, a huge problem for him. I mean, he's got a flapping hood right there, but man, oh man. Unfortunate to see Jeff No crash Luke Allen. A lot of drivers involved in that one. So I would imagine most of these cars will go into pit.
David, Sober David said, is it possible to have a commentator curse before they even say it? Well, we were just talking about maybe who would go down pit road. Well, look at that. We called that one without even knowing it, Eliza.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I was hoping to see green flag pit stops, but here we are. And Sandy, thank you so much for the cheer. 5 biddies. Appreciate you. And for work trip, not exactly what I was hoping for you, but hey, hopefully you're having fun at least. But you see majority drivers coming in to stop, and Justin, Philip, Dylan staying out here. So we've seen the tire wear take effect on these restarts. I don't know. I'm a little nervous, Pete. I don't know if it's the right call.
You know what? I was just wondering about who would or who couldn't be able to make it from here coming down pit road. You got to wonder if the 4 stayed out thinking that he's not in his fuel window yet. Philip Bridgman in the 9, right now sitting P2. Dylan Robb, all 3 of these guys are up front for the very first time this evening, even though Justin Aniscock started on pole. So leading right now in that Britney Spears. In that
Wrong
number
singer.
4. Yeah, or oops. I almost wonder if he's up there in that Taylor Swift machine to grab a point for lead. I don't remember if we actually led the first lap or not, but he is now, which is that very, very important point for later in the season, or he might just be waiting until he gets into his fuel window.
Now you see a lot of drivers going in now. Dylan C. Robb and a few others going in, but Justin, he stays out. So point or not, he's got one officially now. If he didn't before, he's got Philip Bridgman behind him. Yeah, we'll see how the strategy plays out, but that tire spin on restarts really makes me nervous here. We've seen a lot of drivers fall back hard, and some drivers having to escape the mess as they try to get around here.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, and possibly the wheel spin on that number 4 as well as the 9 of Philip Bridgman. Both of those guys, again, they have not been on pit road since lap 128. Everybody else behind them on here on lap 157. The last time we saw this, the top 4 stayed out. Micah Allard came up and just passed them like they were standing still because they had a little bit of an issue getting up and getting going again. I think we're going to see that same thing yet again. I just hope that they don't get back on the throttle and find themselves in the wall very early.
Yeah, let's hope not. I mean, we've had a lot of carnage here. 159 laps. That is no small race. I mean, this would have been a completed race any other night, but here we are. We're still out here, and we're headed to 200, and we're on board with Forrest Smith, sitting P10. He's had a great night. He's up 4 spots from where he started. Jacob Palmer behind him, up 18 spots. So great gains for him and that 39 machine.
Yeah, Chris Karch found himself in a wall earlier in that number 40. Right now finds himself P12. Dylan Robb, he stayed out for a little bit. Now finds himself 13th. Brody Falker in that 42. 14th, down 10 spots from where he started. Francis Hamilton is going to round out the top 15 as they go into turn 1 and 2. Lights atop the pace car are out. They'll be going back green on lap 161. Eliza, 40 laps to go.
40 laps to go, and Maddie says we're out here staying up late like a bunch of party animals. You guys know me. It's past my bedtime, so I'm proud of myself for hanging out here, but man, it's Charlotte. I would rather be nowhere else, or I wouldn't be anywhere else. Something like that. But yeah, love Charlotte. It's a lot of fun out here. These drivers have put their heart and soul out here. Paint schemes are absolutely amazing. And let me know in chat, who do you think's gonna win? My guy, Jonathan Juergensmeyer's P6, still up 13 spots from where he started, but we'll see what he can do.
Well, Eliza, in order to keep you awake, you got 30 guys out there on track, and you got me screaming in your ear to keep you awake. Also, I think we'll tape your eyelids open and call the rest of this race. Again, will be 39 to go this time. Lights atop the pace car are out. He's making that hard left turn onto pit road. controlled by the 4. Justin Aniscott, Philip Bridgman to his outside.
Green.
Let's go racing.
That Taylor Swift car with a nice start, but Philip Bridgman, not a good start at all. The 61 gonna have to go down low. The 9 car takes it up high, and everyone's trying to get around him now, but man, that's the difficulty of starting on old tires in trouble. We have a driver going off the track, trouble in the
Yellow.
back. That's gonna bring out another yellow,
What you
Pete.
got going on out there, bud?
Yeah, another yellow. I tell you what, the 61 also almost had a bit of an issue as well. Huge save from Micah Allard to keep it off the 2 and off the 51 as well.
Absolutely. It looks like Mike Papa Bear Campbell was involved in this one again. Hopefully, it's just my system overreacting, but we'll see what happens here. Man, so unfortunately just gets in the back end of Tom. But yeah, we see a couple of drivers backwards. That looks like Jimmy Cocker involved once again. So unfortunate to see here.
Yeah, you see the front end completely locked up before he gets into the back of Tom Flitcroft. So, Eliza, when you're on the brakes on these things, you cannot steer them. They will keep going in the direction that you're already traveling. So, very unfortunate, but good effort by Mike Papa Bear Campbell as always.
It's like Chris Karch was already losing it. Jimmy Cocker almost got through, but just got tagged. Not much he can do. Sits backwards on the backstretch.
All right, Eliza. So the 4 was able to control the field that time. Got a pretty good restart. Didn't really slip the tires too much. Able to keep that lead. Did not come down pit road this time either. So I believe we'll go back green about lap 165. So 35 laps remaining. If I'm not mistaken, a full tank will get you about 29 laps. Yeah, I could be wrong. I don't quite remember what they said earlier. So is he possibly waiting or hoping for another caution or two before he can come down pit road, top it off, and everybody else might have to make one more stop if they stay out?
Well, we know that they can at least get 45 laps.
Okay.
So
yeah, I was wrong.
Yeah, you can get at least 45, if not 50. It's going to be good on that end if you just pit, but it's going to be close, Pete. Absolutely. So some of these guys might be struggling if they overdrive it, but I think most of these guys will be okay.
We see a lot of handling issues at the end of what we've called a fuel run, working up to the stages and a couple of decent size green flag runs. I wonder if they might be able to go 40 or 45 laps on fuel. You got to wonder what those tires would be like and how loose these cars would be in that kind of a long run.
Yeah. I know if you take care of them, I mean, it's going to be tight and it's going to be not fun to drive, but they can absolutely do it on tire. You just have to watch it. And that's the fine line between, are you going to overdrive it and try to make up some spots, or are you going to save those tires and let everyone else wear their machine down and hopefully you pass them up in the long run?
All right, so it looks like we'll go back green on lap 166. We'll have at least one more lap around. Lights top, the pace car stayed on. The 4, even though he's on the oldest tires in the field, last time he was down pit road was lap 128. So, I mean, his tire is absolutely begging to be changed. He still has something going for him because he's the control car. He is the first one on that loud pedal. So even though Jonathan Jurgensmeyer has been very, very fast, he's up there in P2. He's got Josh Taylor right behind him, Steven Maggio, Micah Allard, some guys that have at one point or another shared the lead or been up there to battle for it. The 4 started on pole. Right now, he's leading as well. As long as he doesn't spin the tires on this restart, he might be okay, but I think eventually he's going to fall back, just like we saw earlier with a couple of the other drivers.
Yeah, that's some pretty old tires compared to the remainder of the field, and we've seen how that has played out. So I think he'll get a great restart. Hopefully no tire spin, but once these guys get moving, if we don't have a caution, I think Jonathan Jurgensmeyer and the fellas behind him will pass him up, and we might see him fall kind of hard.
All right, Eliza, so you staying with Jurgensmeyer?
I am.
All right, I'll keep up with that Nitro Motorsports number 61 from Micah Allard as well. Both of them have shown a bit of aggression. Both of them have also shown a bit of speed. They've been able to stay up there in the long run. Maggio has led. The two of Josh Taylor, he's been up there and led. Of course, we've got our pole sitter leading the whole thing right now. This is a very, very stacked, at least top six, not to discount Brendan Book. Or how about this? Jarrett Cardwell right now sitting 8th. He's up 12 spots, the furthest up that he's been all night long. Jacob Palmer and Philip Bridgman to round out the top 10, going through turns 1 and 2 onto the backstretch. Could this be the final green flag run? If it is, I tell you, Anastiak may have an issue with staying out.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. This could very well be his first win, even though he says he's not good at Charlotte, but it could be his first win. He's going to have to play his cards right, and it makes me a little nervous with him not going in the remainder of the field, but we'll see how it plays out here. But pace car lights are out, and Justin getting ready to lead us. Jonathan on the outside, Josh Taylor directly behind Justin. These guys are ready to go once again, hopefully for the final time for a green flag stop here, green flag run. Let's get these guys moving. Off we go. Justin, no wheel spin, so great job for him. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer doesn't get as great as a start as I was hoping he would get, but man, side by side, you got Josh Taylor below, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in 3rd, Micah 4th, Brendan Book, he's 5th.
Yeah, Steve Maggio right behind. He's up on the high side. Brendan Book slides up right in front of him. Look at Andrew Wisdom. We talked about him earlier being about P20, P15, P17. Well, he finds himself now knocking on the door of the top 5. Looks like Josh Taylor able to take the point.
Trouble for Jurgensmeyer. He falls back to P5. I don't know if he got loose coming off of the exit 4, but he is going to be sitting P5 with Andrew Wisdom in 6 right above him. And Josh Taylor, as you said, he is in the lead side by side with Micah. Will Micah take that over? We're going to find out. But these guys, man, what a huge run from Micah on that low line. Great job for him to get in that lead.
Yeah, Josh Taylor tried to pinch Micah down, but he got a little squirrely on the exit of 4, had to let him go. So the 61 of Micah Allard back to the lead. Josh Taylor sitting P2. How about that? Micah Allard, not only was he pushing, the man just went shake and bake purple with a lap time of 30.42. Nah, he's not pushing it at all, Eliza.
That was a man on a mission. I mean, he just had such control and power in that machine. Bringing it out to 1st. I mean, great power play by him. So good job. Brendan Book in 3rd. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer up a spot from where he fell. He's now in P4. Andrew Wisdom 5th. Forrest Smith up to P6. So great job. I do believe that's the highest position he's held tonight thus far. Justin Anastasak still falling backwards. He's going to be P8 as Brody makes a move on him.
Yeah, Brody Palker finds a line underneath him. The next one to try to do the same thing is going to be Jarrett Cardwell as he cracks the top 10. Now looking underneath the 4 of Justin Anastasak out of Kenai, Alaska. Going into turns 1 and 2. 12 pinch way down low. 4 not giving him any pressure. Plenty of room up and off the corner. It'll be Cardwell for the spot.
Our leader still out about 0.2 in front of Josh Taylor. Book is out there P3 up 6 spots from where he started. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer still trying to hold on, but we'll see how these guys make it in the long run. We have just under 30 laps here left to go in this crazy wild Charlotte race. But man, what a race out here. Micah looking so strong. Your driver, he might take it home tonight there, Pete.
Well, he got pretty comfortable with the 00 behind him, even though he was, I think he was still being pushed a little bit. So now he's got to get used to a brand new driver in his rear view. He hasn't had Josh Taylor right behind him for at least what I remember anyway. So is the 2 going to get up there and push the 61? Or is he just going to sit there and ride, maybe try to find a little bit of clean air somewhere on the nose of that deuce? As you're going to have to worry about the 5 of Brendan Book getting up there to his rear view also. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, he had a little bit of an issue you mentioned a little bit ago, finds himself back in P4, but oh, here comes that two-time champ in Andrew Wisdom, cracked the top 5, not too far off the lead, right behind him, Forrest Smith.
Yeah, he is right on his tail, and these guys looking to make their way up to Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. He will soon be under attack as he tries to make his way up to Brendan Book. But this is at the point of the race where these guys are starting to get a little separated. But Forrest Smith, he's saying, no way, I'm taking a peek on that inside, unable to make it happen just yet. He's going to stay tucked in behind Andrew Wisdom, I should say.
Yeah, the best thing that Forrest Smith, I keep wanting to call him Smitty.
Me too.
The best thing that Forrest Smith can do is try to find a different line. Don't stay right in the one's tire tracks because you're going to burn your stuff up with all that dirty air. If he goes all the way down to the line, go up like half a lane above him. Or if he takes that first lane up off the white line, then go as low as you can. But don't stay right in his tire tracks because that dirty air will wear your stuff out.
Absolutely. I mean, that dirty air, it also makes you really, really tight. So you have to turn harder, let off a little bit more to keep that inside. So as you said, it's just better sometimes to take a different line if you feel it pulling your car up the track. And I've seen it a couple of times with these drivers where they do fall back and their car does go up high when they don't want it to. And you can see him kind of driving a little high. We have Dylan C. Robb behind Jarrett Cardwell, and you can see him trying to take a different line, trying to keep that clean air on him to make his way up through.
Absolutely, and as Forrest Smith and Andrew Wisdom are going on, Brody Falliker in that number 42, sitting P7, down 3 spots from where he initially qualified. So, it's usually not long before you find Brody Falliker inside the top 5, maybe even trying for that win. We've got what 25 laps remaining here in this race. It's been a pretty long race, but you know what? It has absolutely been action-packed, Eliza.
Absolutely. Maddie says this has been wild, and she is not wrong. A tough race, so I wonder how mentally that these drivers are doing. It's a long race. These drivers have to be tired. You hear it from them from road courses. It can be very exhausting. I'm curious how they're handling Charlotte.
I watched the back up front, the 61 and the 2, as Josh Taylor puts the deuce in the wall off of the exit of 4, but still able to hold his position. I'm watching the flames come out of the side of both of these cars as they get set to get into either set of corners, and that has pulled Brendan Book as well as Jurgensmeyer back into this. It seems like they've all got a car length to a car length and a half between them all the way through the top 5.
You can see Josh Taylor really hug that apron and has to let off not to make contact with the wall. I mean, it comes up faster than you ever think or hope it would. But yeah, these cars, loose entry and mid corner. So I'm kind of curious, are they feeling that now, or is it just more loose off? Because you can see him trying to correct it coming off that exit, but they are handling it just fine. Micah looks very confident, very comfortable out here leading the field.
Yeah, you see, Eliza, you see his line. He's not down there on the white line, so he's not having to put a whole lot of extra wheel into his Chevrolet. He's keeping it in that second groove, so he's carrying a little bit of momentum and not keeping it pinched to the bottom. That could be a key to success for the 61.
Absolutely. We'll see what he can do. You can just hear him burping that throttle, feathering it every so lightly. As he heads into turn 3, he's got some traffic up ahead, but we'll see how he manages to get through here. And if I'm him, I'm saying, whoever the car is in front of me, I'm saying, can you get out of the way, take the low line or take whatever line I am not taking? I'm letting him know where I need him to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be keying up, say, hey, leaders behind you, please stay high. I mean, it seems like he's definitely low enough in the corners not to be disturbed by that, what will be a lap car if he's not already a lap car's dirty air. So he's probably screaming at him, hey, man, stay up high, and it looks like that's the case now.
Yeah, that's Matthew Gale in that 67, and he's going to stay up high, let our leaders go on by. But, man, difficult spot as the 2 car had to go up high and then take it back down low. It's just, it's not easy to figure out where you need them to go with all these cars coming, but they do a great job making their way on through.
Yeah, that high spot right where Matt Gale was as the two came up on him, that's the normal line.
Right.
You get up right close to the wall on the exit of 4, turn back in to come across the start stripe in the middle of the tri-oval. So that could have been a recipe for disaster if not for the heads-up driving of the Deuce.
67 into the wall as he tries to stay out of the way, but again, the same exact spot. It's a hard spot to overcome because your car has to go up high, and really difficult to make it around there. That tri-oval is not easy, even when you're by yourself. I mean, it can get pretty loose coming out of there. We're on board with Forrest Smith in that 81 machine. You can see him kind of on his own little island leading this next pack, and he's got Brody Falliker not too far behind than Jarrett Cardwell, Dylan C. Robb, but man, these guys are pretty separated, Pete.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I got to give a big shout out to Jarrett Cardwell right now, running 8th, up 12 spots. He came over from the Shake and Bake Open Wheel series, if I'm not, it's like F1 or Indy, and he had a great finish at Daytona. Been in a top 10 a couple times, and so far looking like this could be another top 10 run for him.
See what happens here. Brody Falliker on 33 lap old tires. The remainder of the field up front is on 26. So that's going to be about a 53 lap stint around there. So it's going to be very, very close for Brody Falliker. A little worried on if he can make it on fuel and tire. We'll see what happens with him, but the remainder of the guys should be okay to finish the race on what they have now. They just got to make sure that they take care of their stuff.
Yeah, the only one that may not, and talking about Justin Ansgach after staying out back in P12, down 11 spots after starting on pole this evening. Last time he was on pit road was lap 128. I mean, the guys that are leading the field right now pit almost 30 laps after him. So he's fallen quite a bit. 15 laps to go. I think he's second guessing that staying out, but he did get a point for leading.
He did get a point for leading, but unfortunately he's going to lose too many spots to make that even worthwhile, in my opinion at least, because I just don't see a way for him to be able to stay out in this condition if he went at lap 128. Yeah, I mean, that's 70 so laps. I don't even think that's possible.
No, I don't think so either. But I am kind of curious about the car that's right behind him. Talking about Steven Maggio in that 51 right now, sitting 13th. A lot of speed in that machine earlier. Led a bunch of laps. Was right there with the leaders, lap after lap. If he wasn't leading, right now outside of the top 10 and quite a ways back. I don't see any damage on the front end or the back. Not quite sure what happened to this 51.
Yeah, not quite sure. I mean, we've had a lot of drivers switching up positions here, some being in the front, then later on being in the back. We saw Andrew Wisdom make an extra pit stop there, and now he's back up to the front of the field sitting P5. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer 4th, Brendan Book 3rd, Josh Taylor 2nd, and Micah, of course, still leading with a 0.3 lead over Josh Taylor. So we'll see if he can't keep that. 13 to go, coming in 12. This race is winding down, Pete.
Yeah, it seems like once we hit that 50 to go mark, it's been just clicking off lap after lap. These guys are running 31 to 32 second laps each lap. Micah Allard, his fastest of the evening, was a 30.37. He set that back when he set the fastest lap record of the evening. His last lap was a 31.95, so a second and a half off his fastest lap. But we've been green for a while now as we come to 10 to go next time by.
Brendan Buck looking like he is trying to take over that P2 spot. I mean, he was all over his back bumper, took a peek on the inside, and then gave up some time. Meanwhile, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, he's making his way up to Brendan Book after that slight mishap, trying to switch positions here, but he's going to try anything he can, take that high side, stay in that clean air, still unable to make anything happen, Pete.
Yeah, I watched the two really stay high in turns 3 and 4. Didn't go down the line as he had in the past. And I think that narrow entrance into the corner really cost him on the exit as well as through the tri-oval. Now he's got the 5 looking low, but the 5 may have a lap car coming up. No, that was actually the 61 looking low to try to stay away from the 31 as the 31's up by the wall.
Yeah, I think that's Chuck Cody up by the wall here. So we're starting to run into some traffic. And Micah so far getting through just fine. We have Brendan Book and Josh Taylor side by side for P2. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, that's going to allow him to make his way up to these cars. Unfortunately, nowhere to go unless he takes it 3 wide. Will he or won't he? That's the question.
I don't think so, but I tell you what, Micah Allard has to absolutely love what he sees behind, because as long as those guys are running double wide, they are running slower than he is. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer's got to be wondering which line is going to move as they continue to run side by side off of 4. We're in the single digits to go at 8 laps remaining. Jurgensmeyer and Wisdom now behind them.
So incredibly close. Brendan makes the move over Josh Taylor. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer was hoping that would last a little longer, but here he is. And as you said, Micah is loving that these guys were battling back and forth, and that separates them by a car, no more. These guys are on the move a half a second, but here Micah comes on teammate Tom Flitcroft, another car that could separate him and these drivers behind.
Yeah, C Motorsports right now running 1, 2. Josh Taylor right now still sitting 3rd. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer 4th. Andrew Wisdom 5th. Brody Falliker, Forrest Smith, Jarrett Cardwell, Francis Hamilton, and Dylan Robb to round out the top 10. Eliza, we got a lot of new people inside this top 10 that are showing up late.
We sure do, and man, I love it when things switch up like this. Francis Hamilton was so strong out there. He sits P9. Dylan C. Robb, top 10. We'll see if that holds on to it. Jarrett Cardwell, he's in 8th. Forrest Smith in 7th. Brody Falliker, I want to see him get a solid finish because I know he's had trouble in a couple of races on the finishes here. So great news for him. Andrew Wisdom in 5th. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer 4th. Josh Taylor 3rd. Brendan Book in 2nd. Micah, his teammate, he's still out leading, but Philip Bridgman going to be right in between him. Hopefully that'll keep him separated is what he's thinking.
They are coming up on all kinds of lap traffic. Coming up off of turn 4 all the way through the tri-oval. Really hoping that these guys will stay high, not have any kind of an issue, hitting the wall, bouncing off, coming back down the track. Micah has so far done a masterful job navigating his Nitro number 61 through the field. 5 laps to go, Eliza. Brendan Book still sitting P2. Josh Taylor so far holding on to P number 3.
Brendan Book staying pretty similar in time, about 0.4 back, so he's gaining just a little bit. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though. We'll find out as we have coming up to 3 to go. But these guys are starting to get separated. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer falling back to over a second. Josh Taylor sitting P3 over a second. So it looks like it's just going to be between these C Motorsports teammates here, Pete.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking at their lap times. Brendan Book has been faster than Micah 3 of the last 5 laps, some by just a few hundredths, or half a tenth or something like that, but not much. It's really gonna come down to whether Micah makes a mistake, catches a lap car in the wrong part of the track, or something like that in order for Brendan Book to capitalize. But 61, Micah Allard, very, very strong, coming to 2 laps to go.
Speaking of catching a car at the wrong part of the track, Brendan Book caught a car at the wrong part of the track here. Cost him a little bit of time, but here he's gaining once again, and it looks like he might have some momentum going in these final couple of laps. Now, Pete, the question is, again, will it be enough? And he loses what he had gained. Micah still out here. He might get his first win of the season here in the Xfinity cars. I know he likes these cars, and he has done so phenomenal out here tonight.
Absolutely. Coming to the white flag. The top 5 all laps down on pit road, lap 157, proving that the freshest tires absolutely matter. I don't believe that the 5 of Brendan Book is going to have anything for the 61. It's going to take a little bit of an issue by Micah in order for anything to be able to be done by the 5. But Eliza, through 3 and 4, it's all you.
Yeah, here he comes through 4, and we're going to see Micah as the winner here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the longest race of the season, 200 laps. He gets his first victory this season. Huge congratulations to him. His teammate Brendan Book finishes right behind, gives him a nudge of saying congratulations, but man, what a crazy night. Josh Taylor finishes 3rd, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer 4th, Andrew Wisdom finishes top 5.
Every single one of those drivers has led a lap this evening, so that goes to show the parity in these cars all night for at least the top 5 and even some of the comers in the top 10 later on. Very, very fast. Just needed that track position in order to capitalize on it. But big congratulations to Micah Allard.
Man, oh man, here he comes down into the trioval here to do a little celebratory burnout. Huge congratulations to you. We're going to watch you do a burnout here, but man, Micah, what a race, what a finish. 200 laps, the longest race of the season, and you get it done here tonight. Congratulations to you. Let us know, how did your race go? How did you find your way up here to the win?
Oh man, I don't know, to be honest with you. We didn't quite get the qualifying result that I wanted. You know, when you start behind a whole bunch of cars in this series, it's hard to get around them, and this track in and of itself is hard to pass. But slowly but surely, kind of methodically, I just started picking people off, and I could, after running behind some guys for a while, I could see where I could drive harder and where I had to take it easier. You're wearing a lot of right front tire, but it's a weird condition because you're wearing right front through the corner, but on the exit, you're still a little free. So it's just, trying to be smooth on the throttle, and, I was picking guys off left, right, and picked a couple guys off, passed them on the high side there, but I knew at the end of the race it was going to come down to track position, so I just pushed really hard, harder than I wanted to, really, and we got it done. I was really appreciative of some of those guys that took tire strategy, and I'm sure they didn't quite get the finishing position that they wanted, but everybody kept it clean, kept it green, and we were able to bring it home P1 tonight. So I'm pumped because my first win of the year.
Heck yeah, let's go, man. And that's the longest race, the most difficult as far as test on man and machine, like I said earlier. But man, oh man, you held it out in the long run. You saved the tires. You did what you needed to do. What part of the run was the hardest for you? The beginning, middle, or end as far as car handling?
Oh, man. I mean, I don't know. I didn't have a whole lot of handling issues. I mean, it was just, like I said, it was tight, kind of beginning, middle run. But I was trying to back my corners up a little bit. I know some guys weren't using brake at all. I was trailing a little bit of brake to, keep it down on the bottom. I wasn't trying to use more throttle than I needed to, just so I could keep it down on the bottom, take care of the tires. But, man, it was tight early, and then it was just, taking care of the right front tire allowed me to, drive into the corner and roll the bottom and then just accelerate off the corner. And that's, the end of the run was a lot of fun for me because the car felt great.
Absolutely awesome. Just a huge congratulations. You got it done tonight. Well deserved, and 200 laps, man. What an accomplishment. Congratulations. First win of the season, Micah. Way to go.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for all you guys do.
Absolutely. All right, Pete, we're going to bring it over to second, Brendan Book.
Brandon, you in that Cincinnati number 5. I tell you what, it seemed like you were in the top 5, top 10 all night long, really challenging among all the fastest cars of the evening. You made a little bit of a statement last week or maybe the week before that you are back, or you feel like you are back. Well, this runner-up tonight absolutely has to solidify that. How you feeling about the race and the 200 laps that you ran this evening.
Oh yeah, I think first I just want to give a congrats to Micah, his first win. So C Motorsports, good night for us. But yeah, I think overall for the race, I think early on when it was kind of daylight out, I kind of struggled a little bit with kind of running too hard, and then the handling I was a little bit free, especially on the restarts. There was a couple times I thought I was dying, getting loose on a restart in 1 and 2, but overall I think I just kind of stuck with it. Um, and then there I kind of just kind of learned what I needed to do, and in stage 2, and that helped me throughout rest of the race. And really good strategy, that we pulled there by pitting. Obviously we needed nobody to wreck there, which that's why it worked out that way. So happy about that. But overall, I'm glad with the second.
Yeah, it was pretty much you, Micah, Josh Taylor, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, as well as a couple others earlier on. But once the sun set and the track really started to cool off until the long runs came across, it really you definitely showed to have some top speed this evening. Next week we head to the last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway. How do you feel about your chances to maybe grab that W at short track?
I mean, this one was hard because it was long. That one's gonna be tough. This one felt kind of like survival of the fittest because a bunch of wrecks and cautions there and like tire strategy. But I think this one's gonna just be surviving now. You can staying out of the wall, avoiding the wrecks. Even when you do get wrecks, just sticking with it, and trying to repair that damage or just driving around with damage. Obviously if you go down a lap, it could really derail the race. So honestly, just that's gonna be a survival and just stay out of trouble. Even if it just comes home 10th, that might be a good day.
Well, Brendan, I've got to say, just like you, blatantly put it, you are back. It's good to see you. Congratulations on this runner-up, and we'll see you at Bristol in just a week.
Thank you.
You got it. Eliza, it's one of the guys you talked about very, very early in the race, Josh Taylor, with you.
Yeah, Josh, I was warned that you're going to be really phenomenal here, and you held out, had a great race, finished third. Take us through. How do you feel about Charlotte, and how was your race into tonight?
Yeah, had a really good qualifying position. I really wanted the pole, but Justin kind of edged me out on that one. But yeah, I think I ran it a little too hard on the first run, and then I just kind of got mired back in traffic for like, you know, m- at least half the race. And it was really hard to make passes and try to, just keep it out of trouble because I knew it was a long race, and I kind of messed up on the stage points, but we kind of clawed our way back there at the end. We had a chance for Micah there at the end, but he was really really smooth throughout the run. He got me right off the start of the run. I didn't expect him to be so fast there on the bottom, and yeah, he just kind of pulled away, and I just overdrove. I could never get the right rears underneath me on the long run. I felt like I really struggled there. And Brandon kind of got up. I kind of held up Brandon a little bit. He probably could have had a chance for the win, but I still had the hopes that maybe I could get a get a come back there.
Well, you had a great run. How do you feel about Bristol for next week?
I feel pretty good about it. I feel so far the last 3 weeks I felt pretty good. I got 3 straight top fives now. Moving up the points. I missed the first race of the season, so it kind of held me back there a little bit. But now we're on a pretty nice little streak. Hopefully soon we can knock out a win maybe.
Absolutely. You've been phenomenal out here. It's been so fun to watch how great you're doing. And I can't wait to see what you do at Bristol and moving forward in the season. But huge congratulations on P3. And yeah, I agree. I think we're going to see you in victory lane shortly.
Appreciate that.
All right, Pete. A long night at Charlotte, 200 laps. Micah brings home the first win, his first win of the season. Great job by him and all these drivers. But man, next week is going to be another wild race. It's Bristol, baby.
It's Bristol, baby. Absolutely. The last great Coliseum is going to be a phenomenal race. Cannot wait for that. The longest race of the season. And Micah, the car that I picked, oh, by the way,
You did.
gets it done. Big congratulations to him. Me and Micah, we joke around a little bit every now and then. but very, very happy to see him grab this W. Can't wait to see who gets it done next week. One of the crown jewel races. Let's go.
Let's go. Lovely little maniac I see out there. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you guys for hanging out with us the entire night. It was awesome. It was a long night. We appreciate you, and we appreciate your support. You guys have a great night. We'll see you later.